and watch us. I would
We're
imagine.
back on YouTube anyway.
Oh, we're on YouTube again now. Is that on the right one? Is it the official one?
Yeah.
Is that all right? I'm dread to think of if we've been on his feed where we've been viewed because it's some of his things.
Or by whom?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I tell you, there's some stories I can tell over the past week, but I'll leave those till we've gone off.
All right, okay.
All right.
That sounds interesting.
Well, I'm in for an interesting
Not
ride
better
home.
than the show.
I'm in for an interesting journey home.
Yeah. In your own time, Rich.
Yeah, it's all right.
There really is no problem. All this, the people that have been sat in the garden getting wet all day in Leeds waiting to listen to this show.
The internet's a bit slow, so.
He's always blaming someone else, isn't he? He's always blaming someone.
Well, usually it's somebody else's fault.
Ah, well, yeah, that's a fair point.
That's what I'd be doing at Leeds anyway. If I was David Fern, I'd be blaming everyone else, mainly the players.
Don't be ruining the show.
Have I got time for another biscuit then?
Well, you probably got time to eat the old biscuit, old box and bake some more, I think.
Get over there. Right.
In your own time, Rich.
Yeah, we're back.
This is like one of the outtakes. It'll be on the end of season blue.
Well, someone did say, have we got any outtakes? And here we are.
Have we got any intakes?
No. Right, are we actually on now?
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got a notification now. Richard Shaw has stopped broadcasting
Apologies.
live to the nation. I don't think anyone's bothered anyway. So
They're all watching. They're all getting rid of Christmas.
yeah, they're all, well, they'll be back soon, won't they? Because he's going to lose, isn't he, Higgins?
They're all downloading Twitch as we speak.
Yeah.
Well,
if anyone's watching on that, let me know because I don't know if that works. To be honest.
All right, well, we're back. Welcome along, one and all. I want to start off. Where shall we start off? Where do you want to start off? Shall we start off with the 1895 Cup? Shall we start off with the news that
No one else did.
Odsal is going to be hopefully regenerated into some kind of super stadium? It's almost like we've heard this before.
Disappointed that the press release didn't say Wembley of the North. Copyright.
Yes.
Well, it's how many times have we seen the last game at Odsal? About 4.
Oh, that's the wrong bloody way round.
What are you doing now?
I don't know. Well, Odsal is the wrong way round.
Sorry if it's going live down under. We'll be right with
Keep talking.
Is it possible to sack someone who we don't pay?
What do we get? P60? Is it P60 we call it?
Is it P6?
P45.
P45.
P45, yeah. It's P60 if any people listening reads nothing.
Have you ever run a Super League club before?
I've got a good idea. So Odsal then, it feels like there's some skullduggery going on here.
I guess we've heard it all before. What do we want from Odsal? We've saved it apparently because of its iconic nature.
Yeah.
Plenty of other stadiums are no longer with us that were equally iconic.
Yeah.
We think there's some issues around the development of Odsal, which is why it's never been developed, as in there is methane in the backfield.
Yeah, but they've built an awful lot of houses around it now, so I'm presuming that's been
There's also an issue about another access road off the M606, which apparently was going to cost perhaps more than the stadium to get it built.
Can I ask a really honest question now, right? This is a genuine question. If Odsal is worth so much money,
Well, we'll sell it.
why don't the RFL just sell it and make loads of money and put it into the game?
Keep most
Because
of it and
is
redistribute the
anyone
rest.
bothered other than Bradford fans? And what are there, 4,000 of them now? Would anyone be bothered? And I dare say those 4,000 would watch the club because they love it that much. They'd watch it if it played down at Horsefall or at Bradford City.
They did one
Why does it need to be? If you took out the corporate hospital, which is a fantastic building, if you took that out of Odsal, it is a dump, quite literally. And I can say that because I've been and watched many games. Why don't they sell it? Why don't they just say, yeah, we bought it and we're sitting on a gold
It's a
mine.
good investment.
The clause that rugby league's got to be played here is going, and we're going to sell it. We're going to sell it and we're going to make millions. The RFL's skin. Take the money. I don't have any objection to that. As long as it's all done above board. Yeah,
As long as there is an equal share to the clubs from the sale of the proceeds as well, so that everybody gets something out of it.
I don't know. It's a genuine question. If it's worth so much money, why aren't they doing something with it? Do we
Hasn't got a
need...
World Cup game, has it? So that shows again that...
Yeah, it hasn't, has it?
No,
Didn't
I'm
even
just
apply
saying,
for one,
it's
did
just
it?
show, no, because it
The
shows
facilities
again
aren't
that
good
the
enough.
standards that people now require as a bare minimum for major events, it doesn't comply with.
Yeah.
So
I won't have any problem. Honestly, I wouldn't. Scott, you've got Hudsall more than me these days. What's your thought? You don't like it anyway. I've heard your comments on it.
Oh no! It is dump. As you just said there, the coal stand is the only positive thing about it. To be honest with you, but also as well, when the RFL are saying, you know, I develop the ground itself, who covers that cost? Is it the RFL or is it the Bradford directors themselves?
No, they're looking, aren't they? At,
Yeah, but who will be paying for the development?
well, they haven't said that, but they're looking at options of how to raise.
yeah,
So
right.
where you look at Halliwell Jones, we've got a big Tesco on the side.
Yeah.
Are they going to get a supermarket to build a supermarket on one part of it and then build a stand on the other?
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying here. Are they looking for a developer to come in there and develop it, or who is going to cover the cost? Because as you said before, and as we all know, the RFL are skinned. How can they pay for the development?
Bradford aren't going to pay anything to it because they don't own the
They
ground.
don't own it, so
they're
they're
going to build a new
they're
ground and go, oh, by the way, our lease is up, oh, we're off.
I think the council would be interested in the development of not only the ground but the Richard Dunn Sports Centre, which I think is part of the package.
Well, they're building a new one, aren't they, down the road?
So I think that land is prime either development land for housing or possibly for light industrial units, or maybe even, as you say, a retail unit that would pay for the development for the ground. So, but it's not as if these plans haven't gone out before.
But also as well, mate, you're a Bradford like yourself and this sort of thing, and an ex-Bulls supporter. So you don't think the Bulls fans have any issue of going to Valley Parade then?
Well, I don't think they like it, but I think if it's a continuation of your club, then that's what you've got to do. Right. You know, and I just don't see why the RFL. They're clearly the bigger player here. Let's not doubt it in any way. The reason the Bradford Bulls are still going, in my opinion, now at Hudsall, is because of that ground and the value that it holds to other people. And that, it's a horrible thing to say, but that is my opinion. I do think there are ulterior motives for some people involved.
How many do you think will turn up on Saturday for the Challenge Cup tie being billed as the biggest derby ever on the planet?
Should be a sellout, shouldn't it? How many does Hudsall hold these days?
Yeah. Look, it's an all-pay gate. We know all-pay gates.
No, I mean, I'm trying to be realistic because obviously quite.
I would be happy. I would be happy if there was 6,000.
6,000.
Yeah, I reckon
would be
6 or
about
7.
right.
Yeah, I reckon 6 or 7.
Bearing in mind that would be a really good attendance for the Challenge Cup at this stage. So we've had, how many will Wigan and Warrington get this weekend?
Well, Wigan and Warrington we've seen a million times before.
And who are playing?
At least Bradford and Leeds has got the fact that we haven't seen.
Yeah, and Wigan and Warrington are playing a fortnight later at the Magic weekend.
Yeah.
But that game, which is between two of the most well-known clubs in the Challenge Cup, that will only get between 6,000 or 7,000, you'd think. So 6,000 at Hudsall would be a really good attendance.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
A
You're going,
realistic
aren't you, Ledge?
attendance.
You'll be there, won't you?
Leeds and Bradford, yeah, I'm there.
Tucker?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, invited by Nigel. Yeah, so I'm very.
He'll tell you what's happening with the development.
I'm very much looking forward to it. To be honest, I couldn't care less about development. If I get looked after nice hospitality, that'll do for me. Couldn't care less. You know, then as long as if I see,
get us a
but as long as
Did you get a +1? Because I don't remember being asked if I wanted to.
As long as I see, actually, I think I can take a couple of guests, but that's already taken up, to be honest with you. But anyway,
Here we go. Here we go. What I'm saying that's fine, because we'll keep our biscuits. Don't worry about us. When the teas come up at half time, don't get Scully one, because he can look after himself.
No, that's about it. What I'm saying is that I'm just hoping that it's a quality game of rugby league, because as we know, the Super League game and all this sort of thing, the way the Bulls have gone, I'm just hoping it's a cracking game.
Why is it? When you say you want it to be a cracking game, I think
for the Challenge Cup,
I think Bradford's best chance is to make it scrappy, personally.
Well, I think they're trying to do this to Toronto, and that was a really entertaining game. I thought Bradford in the first half were absolutely excellent.
The only way Bradford will beat Leeds on, as you mentioned there, scrappy, is quite simple.
Are they going to plough the field before? You see, that's what I'd be. Look at them Leeds forwards. They're not strong enough to get up a plough field.
I'd be watering it, that's for sure.
Watering it, digging it up.
Yeah, well, Bradford's game plan will be simple. They'll kick the ball out into the touch, they'll walk to the scrums, they'll make sure they get set from there, and just, if they get opportunities, hopefully take. They might get, 4 or 5 opportunities maximum, and take opportunities. But Bradford will slow the game down. They'll kick it out of touch.
It's got John Keane masterpiece written all over.
One or two ex-Leeds players that are bound to have big games. Jordan will be kicking the.
Jordan will be running. The only thing with Jordan is
he actually allowed to play? Is he?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not. But there's two things.
Interesting. It's Leeds decided this week he couldn't.
There's two things here for Jordan Lee performance on Saturday. First of all, he doesn't try too hard, and then secondly as well, he doesn't get all involved in the emotion. I.e., you know, if he does some good kicks, he gives it all the fist pumps and all this sort of thing. Because I would imagine somebody then will maybe line him up and this sort of thing, and maybe quiet him down. To be honest with you, so there's 2 points there for
Who's
Jordan.
going to do that in that forward pack?
Big Ava.
To prove
Big Ava.
to prove a point from there. But do you know what? The way that Leeds are going, and then I saw Bradford play Toronto on Saturday. Bradford were all right for spells.
Is that a problem though that they've had to go to Toronto?
Yeah, not only go to Toronto, but play a very physical side, and a team that are full-time professional to the point of. I mean, I know Bradford are full-time, but I think that the intensity with which Toronto are training at the moment, word is getting back that they are a Super League team in waiting. And the personnel they've got are not far off being in the middle reaches of Super League if they were playing in there now. So
But I'm not so sure from a point of view of Bradford where they'll be ready for this game. They know they've had it for the last 2 or 3 weeks. The recovery this week will be quite simple. I would imagine John Keir will give the lads the time. When do they get back? Get back today, do they? Is it today they got back?
I don't
Matt
know.
got back yesterday.
But anyway, so I would imagine they won't be back in training, Wednesday, so it'll be all about recovery. They'll have a bit of a team run, I would imagine, Thursday. The captain, so-called captains, are on a Friday. And they'll be up for it. So I don't see that being an issue.
Off the atmosphere.
Yeah, of course they will. And the way that Leeds are playing, as we all know how Leeds are playing, and it's not very well, to be honest with you. You know, the question is how are Leeds going to get any better, how they are performing. So Bradford at home, they've got nothing to lose, and I just hope it's a great game for the Challenge Cup. It's live on telly. I'm hoping for a cracking game. I am.
What do you reckon?
And a
Rich?
decent pie it's open for as well.
Oh, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? But I think Leeds are going to win comfortably.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into this Bradford stuff now. And,
You don't like Bradford anyway?
No, I don't like Bradford, no.
Yeah, there's not wrong with that.
No. We can just pretend like every other programme on TV that everyone loves everyone else in rugby league. But no, I can't stand Bradford. Odsall's not iconic. It's as big a dump as Wakefield and Castleford's ground, if not bigger.
Hey, Rich.
But we don't get any help from the RFL, do we? No one's from the RFL's been and bought Bellevue or bought the Jungle, have they? And given the club a hand up. So
Hey, Rich,
it's not the Bulls. I hope they get stuck by 50.
Rich, hey,
What the people want.
Hold on.
Rich, I've got to go to that game on Saturday. I'm not taking a couple of punches for you. Yeah, I give that to Shaw, right?
No, he's not bothered.
It's my opinion. I don't
He's big
care.
enough and ugly enough to deal with himself.
He don't
Don't worry
care.
about him.
When I go to the bash, I'm leaving after York and Fair. I'm not saying for Halifax Bradford. I'm not bothered. So yeah, no, I hope Leeds win by plenty. But I'm only speaking on behalf of people who, you know, are sick of the whole. Let's tell Bradford, we're going to redevelop Odsall. Like you say, we've heard it all before. And I'm saying this from, you know, we've heard it all about Wakefield before in Castleford, and nothing changes. So until it's rebuilt, you know, good luck to them, but I don't care. Glad Toronto won. Up the Wolf Pack.
Leeds by 50.
Yeah.
Another 8,500 at the Wolfpack.
Well, yeah, I mean, it shows it, doesn't it, that Swinton are a bigger draw than the Bulls these days as well. And while we're talking about Toronto, all these people getting excited that David Argyle gave some cans of beer out to the fans. And
Oh, what's up with you
Is
today?
it worth
It's nothing
going
worth
Yeah,
about?
have a biscuit. Have a biscuit. Come on, have a biscuit.
apparently we've got the Twitch is working.
People on Twitch are going to get the wrong
I
idea.
know. We've got two.
People on Twitch.
We haven't even plugged it. We've got 2 viewers apparently, so that's a positive. I can't even get that to work properly.
No, never mind. Never mind.
No, it'd be good, wouldn't it? And it is the kind of game, and you know we joke about it.
Romance of the Cup.
It's the first ever meeting between the two and all that blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I'm sure the BBC won't bring any of it up on Saturday afternoon. That it's not really. But you know, it is a big fixture. But it is a test here for the Bulls to actually get a big crowd in, because they can talk the talk as much as they want about this being the biggest rugby league derby in the world or whatever.
On the planet.
There's no Bradford City now. Their season's finished. Get a big crowd in. Go on, prove it to us. Get 5 figures in there. That's what you should be aiming for. And you know, it'll be hyped up to buggery on the telly. I'm sick of it already. I hope Leeds stuff.
Phil, also as well, the point of view is, I say the way how mighty Leeds are playing at the moment.
Less than mighty, I would have said.
Can
The
it-
way they're playing at the moment.
Can it happen where
Yeah,
can the
of course
Bulls
it
beat us on Saturday?
Yeah.
Let us know on Twitter at 4020
I think
Live.
they-
What do you think?
So do a poll.
Do a poll.
I'll
Do a
poll.
Graham. We'll have a Graham. Who's going to win? Bradford or Leeds?
Somebody's called me grumpy. Yeah, that's just. Oh, yeah.
Who is the greatest coach? John Keir or
Well,
David Fern?
the fact is that you need to add in the John Keir factor.
You do.
And that Bradford will not win the Challenge Cup, but
How do you know?
they won't. But they could beat Leeds.
Will they win the 1895 Cup?
Oh, don't know. we'll discuss that in a bit. Right, we'll move on. We'll have a chat about it because we've got to do his predictions at the end. We will review Leeds in Crisis, part 147. We will as well. Wigan beat London. Right, we'll start off with Wigan because people in Lancashire, people in Lancashire moan we don't talk about the Lancashire clubs enough. Right, if anyone from Lancashire wants to come over the hill for free, come on this show. You're welcome anytime. And thanks. Who sent us this? Big Cliff.
Big Cliff.
We've got some London Broncos memorabilia now.
Yeah.
What was it? Calendar, desk calendar,
and
desk tidy, mouse map. There you go. We're in business. We don't have a mouse, but we've got. Have you got any mice anywhere?
Plenty.
All right, we'll get one.
But not on a computer.
Well, that's what I mean. We'll stick one on the mat later. Right. Okay. Wigan 18, London 8. I spoke to Danny Ward this morning. It felt, I didn't watch it all, I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch it all. I watched a bit of it and thought, it's a bit grim, I'll come back to it. And then I came back to it, saw Elliot Kay sadly dropped that ball, and Wigan, I think that was a defining moment. A crowd of less than 10,000 claimed. If there were 10,000 in there, I don't know. Season ticket holders count. Yeah, where is Derek Beaumont calling Wigan out for making up the crowd? They'll say the season ticket holders have bought a ticket. They have, I get that. That's how sport works. The crowd was embarrassing.
Well,
and London for me could easily have won that game.
Really flat.
It always is. I went to when they played in the World Club Challenge. The atmosphere was brilliant.
That's because there's no away fans. I saw 2 London fans on the telly. They were enjoying themselves.
Yeah, they were exactly. The atmosphere for the game in the World Club Challenge was brilliant. But that was because it was England Australia rather than Wigan. You know, and I just thought it's just a poor play. That club is dying, and even their own fans now are starting to go, "What's going on here? What is going on?"
They need a big signing for next year, don't they? And
they need a big signing. They need about 6.
Well, they need something they can announce now that will reinvigorate people to show that they're moving in the right direction. They need to sort out the coaching situation one way or the other. They're linked again with Jackson Hastings, who they wanted to sign in the close season, and no doubt we'll talk about what's happening at Salford, but as well as that club is playing on the field at the moment, and there was again a lot to be admirable about in the way they played this week. Very worrying statement, I thought.
Well, we'll come on Salford in a bit.
Jackson Hastings may well be available if Wigan were to make a bid for him. They just need to announce something quickly to restore the faith.
Oh, is Jackson Hastings, first of all, good enough for Wigan week in and week out to get where they want to get? And secondly, Jackson Hastings
he's better than what they've got at the moment.
Right, so and is he the draw card? Because, well, let's not forget here, Salford are very inconsistent this year. Jackson Hastings is very inconsistent. So is he the quality of player what Wigan are looking for? Should they not be looking a lot higher than what Jackson Hastings is?
Can they afford a lot higher?
Well,
all right. Here's a question for you then.
That's up to them.
Because we had a chat about Wigan when we were at the game.
Oh, mate, the poor.
No, here's a question. All right, here's a question. Who would you rather have, Jackson Hastings or George Williams?
So at this moment in time, there's only one player, and that's the Salford halfback. You know, and I'll just touch on George Williams. What the hell is going on with George Williams? When you see him play, well, it's quite clear. It's not been announced yet when they're talking about Canberra. Well, one thing for sure. The way that he's playing, Canberra won't even go anywhere near him.
Well, the deal might already be done.
Well, if it is, I would imagine, if I were Ricky Stewart now, I'd say, I want him over here now. I want him getting used to our systems. I want him getting used to the so-called culture, because the way George Williams is playing at this moment in time, I'll tell you what, he's not good enough to be in a first-team player. And when you look at the way that he's playing, it's from a point of view where he's not looking to create with the ball in hand. He's just looking he's kicking. You know, creativity now with kicking is a last resort, and everybody knows the way that I speak about is that he's not playing with any vision or awareness. He doesn't look as though he's playing with any sort of enjoyment. So whoever's advising George Williams on how he's playing at this moment in time have totally got it wrong, because there's a player in George Williams. We've seen that from George Williams, but at this moment in time, and not just for the last week or two, I think it's been for the most of the season, he is a very, very average standoff. And until they announce that he's staying or leaving, I'm afraid to say we're not going to see the best of George Williams in a Wigan jersey.
Well, let's get through this. I think this is going to cause a lot of stir.
Here we go. KPW81. Part of the issue at Wigan is that the club expect the crowd just to turn up and make an atmosphere. The club put an effort in once this year in the World Club Challenge. We've got an atmosphere. They seem to want to just put a local band on before the game, which no one cares about. And when something doesn't work, they try it again. And when they find something that does work, it's a one-off. There was people having a go at Dewsbury on social media today for their lad who does the videos, right?
Stephen, is it?
He's great.
Stephen, right? I'm sure he's got a budget.
Turning
of,
into a cult figure.
He's probably got a budget of
He
less
is.
than we've got.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've probably got equipment less than what we've got.
Yeah.
And he's doing the best he can do with what he's got. And he's enthusiastic and he's having a go.
And there's a touch of irony in there.
Who won
as
the
well.
Evan Spoon race anyway? The other way?
Yeah.
Why did that not get? Why did they not broadcast that?
They should do that at the Summer Bash to get people in. But he's having a go. And he's trying to get people in. How many clubs in Super League are doing absolutely nothing and just expect people to
How
turn
did
up?
Wolfie get a ticket for the,
Yeah.
the snooker
Oh,
bar?
they've gone
Because
up
I
as
didn't
well.
get one.
Tell you what, Barry, yeah, he's a smart man. Those tickets have flown off in terms of price in the next couple of years. But they're having a go. What are Wigan doing? What are all these clubs doing to get people in? You know, never has it been.
Can
you just turn up?
Wigan recruit, which they need to desperately do for next year, before they know who the coach is? What
No.
comes first?
No, they've got to sort the coach out, in my opinion.
Because presumably, it's all very well saying Jackson Hastings might be the man, but if the new coach comes in and he doesn't rate or want Jackson Hastings,
Well-
then again, if you do it the wrong way around and recruit your players first, then what if the coach comes in and says, I need to change the squad?
Also, there's another player that's going to have to boil, totally, in Greenwood. The way that Greenwood's playing, when he came here last year, he was a player that we all sort of St Helens, all right, had a bit of a dull spell over in the NRL, but when he came over here, the impression what he made and the quality of the back row he is by just going hard and straight and running with plenty of purpose, offloading from there, quality.
He's
now,
the problem though,
but now-
Gary, that
He's not getting a service.
he's either stop man. It's like Hurrell at Leeds. You know, I've spoken to Super League
Well,
coaches who say,
yeah.
stop Hurrell,
Right.
stop Leeds. Is it the same with him?
Yeah.
Stop him, whatever he does, we'll stop him. Don't worry about it, we'll get him. And I think that's...
Him and Gildar.
they're marked men, aren't they?
No, but-
That's because the threats are not big enough across the
But
field.
the point on what I'm saying is about his performances on that. He's not running with that purpose. He's not running hard and straight and direct as he was. What I'm saying is, from his point of view, and as like what I'm saying with George Williams, there doesn't seem to be any enjoyment of pulling that Wigan jersey on
And
for
one
him.
of the things Adrian Lamb said when he came, and of course he is in the frame as the potential coach now, was that he was going to play a much more entertaining style of football. So even if Wigan were losing 38-36, but you could see that they were very expansive and entertaining and people wanted to watch them, then you could understand it. But at the moment, they're neither one thing nor the other. And it seems to me that, although he's been very consistent so far this year, Zach Hardacre hasn't given them the dimension that he did to Castleford when he went there, the dimension that he brought to Leeds when he arrived as a young kid from Featherstone. And it's almost as if there's something missing in that Wigan makeup, irrespective of who's been injured and who hasn't. And I know that everybody will tweet about all of the teams they favour at the moment, key men are injured. But there just doesn't seem to be an entertainment principle about Wigan. And that's part of the reason why people go and watch the sport. That game last Thursday was a turgid watch for
awful.
people that love rugby league.
Well, as I say, I'll be honest with you.
You went to have a bath.
I turned the telly off 30 minutes ago, and I thought, well, I'll go listen on the radio. And to be honest with you, I fell asleep. I think after about 5, no less than 10. I didn't even know what the score was, and I thought to myself, well, I'm hoping, you know, London, without mistake what kid, I'm hoping London got back in there. But when I saw the score, when it's 18-8, I thought.
They did have chances at the end. They
Did
just
they?
didn't
Yeah.
take
Well,
them.
to be
they
honest with you,
just
I
didn't
didn't see it. I didn't hear it
Yeah.
because the game was that bad. I couldn't watch it anymore. And
But
then-
London played to their strengths
Correct.
throughout
Yeah.
and could have nicked something.
Mm.
I don't know what Wigan's strengths are at the moment.
Well, the one thing I would say, Wigan have been winning in the last few weeks,
Yeah.
but they're 4 points off the playoffs.
Man, the way Casper,
They're
they
4
should
points
have
off
been.
the
The possession
playoffs.
what
Yeah,
Casper.
they should have done, but
because
they
were
didn't.
clue- yeah,
They
were
should have
clueless
done, but they
at the time.
didn't,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
Yes.
Is
You
Wigan
know,
suit-
Huddersfield should have beaten Wakefield on Friday, but they didn't, and that's the thing. My point is, they've been winning against outclass, inferior teams or teams out of form at the minute.
Yeah.
Their season could be
Is-
over.
is-
In
are
3
we-
weeks,
are we-
their
I was
season,
saying,
if
is
they
it-
get
is
hammered
this
at the
3 week
weekend,
window?
and Warrington do them again at the Magic,
and
they're
Catalan
done.
and Catalan in Barcelona. That's
Yeah,
3
they're
big
done.
weeks.
They're done.
I agree.
And I just have to say,
I agree.
and then you think, you think if they go out of the cup next week, and I'll say the same about Castleford later, if they go out of the cup, all of a sudden they're thinking, hang on, what's going to happen this season? I just think the pressure is
What
piling
about-
on, and you think we're querying the crowd on Thursday
What
night.
about
What's
the
it going to be
crowd?
like in a month's
So what
time?
about the crowd at Castleford?
Can I just say one last thing on Wigan before we get on to Castleford? Because
Yeah.
we've been asked, well, we've not been asked, but it's been said by KPW81 again on YouTube. And I know Scully will love this one. One of the reasons why Wigan weren't very good, the pitch at the DW Stadium being watered.
Right. Load of tosh.
That was Oliver Gilbart's
Load of rubbish.
excuse.
What a player said that?
Yeah.
Well,
What are the pitch before the game?
Well, I tell you what, the players.
Well, only the Wigan half.
Them players, the Wigan players, the Wigan players, they're killing themselves. They are absolutely killing themselves. And as you said there, Mark, and it's exactly right. The next 3 weeks define Wigan's season.
Yeah.
They'll go out. Warrington will batter them this week in the Challenge Cup, and then they've got them in the Magic Weekend. Then they go to Catalans, as I said, the week before that. So yeah, the next 3 weeks is a defining part of their season, and it will be over by the end of May. Their season's over. Excuses like that because there's water on the pitch.
What do they do?
Nothing, because they can't be doing any. It's the same at Leeds. What can they do? The players can't get any better than what
But
they're
they
playing.
have a coaching vacancy. What do they do?
At the moment, they haven't. Because Adrian Lamb's their coach, and Adrian Lamb's in talks to carry on with the job. So they haven't got a coaching
But
vacancy.
if at the end of the 3 weeks the season is over, halfway through the season, will they reappoint Adrian Lamb?
Well, you'd say no, wouldn't you? If you look at the results, but
I don't know. Or do you take the medicine and start building for the future?
Well, this is what I'm saying here. This is like what David Ferner at Leeds. If at Wigan at Leeds at this moment in time, the way the situations are, if they'd have been English coaches, let's just say, for instance, Danny Ward had got the Leeds job, and let's just say Chris Chester, who's an ex-Wigan player and good association with the club, was the Wigan coach. If them two people were in charge at them two big clubs at this moment in time, they would have been sacked. They would have been sacked. This season for them two coaches, because of the names and the reputations, I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, it's a honeymoon season for them. They may get away with this season, but one thing for sure, if it's that sort of position after 6, 8, maybe 10 games, they'll be on the next plane on.
Well, the one thing you say about Wigan, they've got the third best defence in the competition. That's clearly not broken. Those systems are still in place. It's going to keep them in game. You mentioned Cash should have beaten. They didn't beat them because they couldn't score enough points. So I think that's one thing about Wigan. But you compare Leeds and Wigan there, and I've said this to Phil many times. My perception of the two is that Wigan can't wait to sell their best players. Leeds are actively going out and trying to buy some players. And I think there's a big difference there. Leeds have got this nice big new ground. They're going to want a team that's going to go in it. They're going to invest. It's going to take time. You can't just do like in the old day. Right, we'll sign him. Can't do it. You can't do it. They've got salary capped up and they've got to work a way around it. It's going to take a long time. Now I said this on this show a month or so ago. Leeds have got to make an internal decision over Ferner. Are we sticking with him while the going's a bit sticky, and we're going to give him the money to get the players in, and we'll judge him in 2 years? Or are you going to? The results have to come now. Whereas Wigan, I don't think they know what.
But just to finish from mine before Phil comes in with David Ferner, I feel sorry for David Ferner because it's not the side that he wants.
No, of course it's not.
So
we mentioned this with Rick Stone, Huddersfield, Gary.
Yeah.
You come in,
and
you
you
go
mentioned
in
with
your
Adrian
thoughts.
Lamb that, you know.
Yeah.
But as I say, I certainly with Adrian Lamb. At the end of the day, right? Everybody from what happened last year. Adrian Lamb's only here for 12 months and Sean was coming in, so we won't even speak about Adrian Lamb from that point of view, but that's all changed now, as we all know. But for David Ferner, I have sympathy for David Ferner because, well, as soon as he walked through the door, Edley asked where Mitch Garbutt was. You know, so the thing's been done. That's the truth. He asked where Mitch Garbutt was, and he's been so, has he? You know, so I feel sorry for Ferner from there. This is what I'm saying here. He'll have this honeymoon period. I could guarantee if there's anybody else, if been an English coach, they would have been sacked. But he's got a team there which I could bet you bottom dollar behind closed doors. He'll be saying to people, boy oh boy, if I knew this squad was like it was, I would never have left South Sydney. I can reassure you.
I think
I was
significant that Richard Marshall was sitting next to Kevin Sinfield.
It was interesting, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's like when Laurent Fresneau was sat next to.
Although at the time there wasn't a vacancy at Leeds when Laurent came over, but there is an assistant coach's vacancy at the
I
moment.
think Nora Aaron Bauer doing a bit of the bants.
Wow, what's he called?
Can you ask Scully if he's looking forward to Leeds visiting a championship side as a good warm up for 2020?
Hey.
I say Leeds at the Bash next year. But here's Rob. Scully talking BS about Ferner and Lamb being sacked if they were English. How on earth is Lee Radford surviving under Scully's theory?
Hold on, Hull are fifth, right?
And they were third.
They're at home in the 16 in the round of 16 in the cup. as much as I criticise Hull and thought they'd struggle this year, and I'm still not convinced they're as great as they're made out to be. But I don't know. I don't see your point there. They had a big run. They stuck with him.
There's a list of the number of injured players at the moment in today's League Express, and Hull have the largest number of injured players.
And I'm not being rude,
and the largest number of players who are out of contract at the end of the year, and all of that needs to be.
Can I just be really? Hull are at home to Cass on Friday, right? Which game is more important? Catalan at home in the cup. There's another 15 rounds left in the league, or the cup next week. So they had a lot of players out injured this week. I'll bet my backside most of them play next week, or the good ones will. They've taken a decision, and that's got to be a club decision. They said we're prioritising the cup. We're going to bin it off. We're going to chuck it in on Friday against Catalan, and we're binning it off. And that's what they've done, and that's their decision because they're 5th in the table now. 2 points clear of Salford and Cass. They're all right. They're happy with that. Their decision to rest everyone on Friday will pay dividends this Friday when they beat Cass, in my opinion.
I hope Aaron Bauer's not one of those media people that Jackson Hastings was having a go at anyway for saying, I know you're doing your job, but he's happy where he is.
See, also as well, though, right? Richard Marshall's sat in the stands with Kevin Sinfield and maybe, I don't know, maybe coming as assistant coach at Leeds. What difference is he going to make? The players what they've got.
Will he?
What assistant coach? Jimmy Law's left to look like he got the blame for all what's happening at Leeds at this moment in time. What's Richard Marshall? How is he going to change it as assistant coach?
They do have an input in the way a team plays.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so.
What assistant coaches?
Yeah.
Well, he was appointed by Kevin Sinfield. At what point do we start saying about Kevin Sinfield?
Well, again, I think that all of that is under scrutiny.
Anyway, before we go to league, let's finish off on Wigan. Well, we'll do the predictions later. We all think they're going to lose at the weekend. Their season is on the line, isn't it?
It is. There's no choice about it. Absolutely.
The Super League champions have got to win this weekend.
We've had it on the wall that Warrington will batter them.
Said the man who has hospitality at Warrington.
I saw that picture. Yeah, it's like yours in the League Express.
I'm not saying that because I've got hospitality from.
He's not.
The legends.
You think he's
I'm going down as the next man of steel winner.
Legends.
With a Pearl and Paul Sculthorpe and Adrian
I
Morley.
think the legends. It says.
In the Martin Dawes suite, where I suspect they'll be offering you some choice.
As we said, tickets are available for hospitality with the legends. What is it, 40 quid a head? 25 if you see
Phil knows better than me.
That would be just going in that programme, by the way, on the end. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
We'll have a look.
Have a look at that one. So is that Wigan in crisis done then?
I don't know. I'm quite happy to keep sticking the boot in, but I don't know. I just think they're struggling. I don't know what it is.
Sandy's asked a question
They
about.
need to do something.
Sandy's asked a question about crowds, because obviously she's a Toronto fan. They've been pulled up, despite the fact they may or may not have as many people in as they're claimed. It's interesting, by the way.
Why wouldn't they have that many people?
It was interesting because they did very well in picking out that clip of Derek Beaumont saying something controversial, because there was not much else on the programme that was controversial at all. But I don't like to talk about the TV programs because we'll get in trouble. We have got an issue perhaps with crowds, because I think, as you were going to mention earlier, 5,000 at Castleford. Where have they all gone?
For Warrington.
I know it's a Friday night, right? They're not in form.
And it's on.
But hang on a minute. 5,000. I mean, well, 5,000 at Huddersfield Wakefield, and we know Huddersfield, no one watches them, and we know it's not a particularly sexy fixture. They play each other all the time. There was only 200 people less at Huddersfield, and Huddersfield are slammed off a lot for their crowds. Let's stick the boot into Castleford then. Where were you? Where were you on Friday night?
They're struggling. They're doing it tougher.
And their crowds have been good at the start of the season.
They're doing it. They are doing it tough at the minute.
They are, but that's when you need fans.
Yeah, but it comes down to the fact, and you'll find this out at Leeds if they keep losing, Phil. They won't come. They won't come.
No, so they won't. Not a single 10,000 crowd in Super League this weekend.
Yeah, so I think it's one of them. If you've not got a season ticket, you're thinking I'm going to Hull in the Cup next week, or I'm going to a Magic weekend. It's on the telly. Don't want to spend another 25 quid plus me 30 quid beer money and me £10 taxi home. Or will I watch it on the telly? I'll go to the pub and watch it.
But does that say something about the core of season ticket holders that they've got?
It's not the season ticket holders that are the problem, is it? They're not the problem at any club. It's the people that
they are, because they're your guaranteed money, aren't they?
Yeah, but
so where are the 3,000 or 4,000 people who have been turning up that aren't now turning up?
And again, as we always say, because people get upset, we're not criticising the people who were there. Well done.
I'm not
It's
criticising
the
any
people-
fan. If they feel they can't afford to go, they
Oh
can't
no,
afford to
it's
go.
not about not affording. Is it? That's a legitimate excuse not
Yeah.
to go. But people must have chosen not to go because they went the other year when they were
I
winning.
get that. I get that.
You know,
Yeah, I get
and now they're not there now, are they? It's like the Leeds United fans. They always use them as an example. Oh, I'm not going to go because Ken Bates in charge. I'm not going to go because Radrat's not Radrat's on.
Chilena.
Chilena. I'm not going to go because of this. Neil Warnock's in charge. Oh, now we're winning. I'm going to go. You know, it's you can find money when you want to go, but these people who are not going because they're not as good as they were a couple of years ago.
It's not necessarily about Castleford. It's about the fact that this is a hardcore area of rugby league, and clubs like Wakefield, who are playing very well, can get around
No watchers?
4,500. Castleford, when actually there's a lot of kids that you might want to watch come through, and maybe actually this is a good time to go and watch them where they come up with the kind of spirited performances where they might have turned a Warrington over, but it's worth watching Warrington at the moment because they're an attractive side. You're down to 5,000. In the hardcore elements of where the sport is supposed that is strongest, is that not a worry? Not necessarily for Castleford, but for the sport as a whole.
Well, how many Leeds fans went to Salford on Friday?
So again, really poor attendance, 3,600.
Yeah, there were nearly as many at Lee in the Championship on
Really
on
poor.
Sunday. Did they play on Sunday?
But again, the issue is what more does Salford have to do to get more people through the gate supporting Salford? They're a club that are really worth watching at the moment, with a young coach who is doing a fantastic job with the limited resources that he's got in terms of playing numbers. There is, you know, on the fringes of the playoffs, they're playing good rugby. It doesn't matter how many away fans go. That's the argument that people use about Toronto. It's how does Salford build a bigger fan base?
Oh yeah, but you're criticising
not
Castle for
criticising.
getting big.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
Leeds don't take any fans anywhere anymore, do they?
They take a fair few.
Well, how many
compared
did they
to-
take on
The
Friday?
issue is,
Maybe 300-400.
Well, that's pathetic.
It,
That's
But-
pathetic.
But you can't build it around away support. What I'm saying, that in a
I'm not
hardcore-
questioning. I'm
in
just,
a hardcore area of rugby league in the Rhubarb Triangle, where is the home support?
the issue.
How many would Warrington have taken on Friday night? I wasn't there, so I don't know.
I don't know.
But you've got to take that following off however many people
Oh,
are there.
of course you have, but people are going to, when the team isn't winning, people are going to go,
It's not going to go.
But
It's
you're not going to go.
It's
Fanatic
happened in rugby league all the
If
time.
you'd have done a straw
All the time.
poll again on Cas fans and
If
said,
the team
right,
aren't winning,
Cas
they're
fans,
gonna go.
are we going to win on Friday against Warrington who've got no injuries,
Yeah.
and we've got a list as long as you are, we're going to go, we're probably not going to win, so I'll wait, I'll go to Hull next week because it's a cup game, and I know
Well,
that they'll put out
then
what we
that
can.
is a real worry about the support
Well,
that is following the sport at the moment.
And this is where you've
Um,
got to look. And I know it's fashionable on other podcasts and other media outlets to kick Robert Elston. But I'm not kicking him. I'm kicking Super League, the organisation, at this point, because we're still expecting people. And I said this about the clubs earlier. We're still expecting people just to turn up. The big sporting event of the weekend was the Women's FA Cup final, which brilliantly there was articles in the days beforehand saying it's going to be a record crowd, and then lo and behold, on the day itself, there was not a record crowd because they gave out lots of tickets, but not all those people turned up. You can't just expect people to turn up, and that's what we're expecting to do. I don't know how people have asked us about the Magic Weekend. I don't know how many tickets have been sold for the Magic Weekend. We've been told it's not very good.
Just 30,000 I've been told so far.
You know, it will be what it will be. But are we just expecting people to turn up? Yes,
But
we are.
but the thing about the Magic Weekend as well, which links into all of this, is that will only be a success if neutral fans or non-rugby league fans go and support that event. We know that 40,000 rugby league fans will go to Liverpool.
Well, one worrying thing for me
But
is
I haven't
Mike
heard of-
Russ said the Saints are expecting to sell 3,000 tickets.
Yeah,
Let's
I
go.
haven't
3,000 tickets?
I
Probably
haven't
nearer
heard
to
of,
Liverpool than it is to St Helens for half the fans.
and I haven't heard of a buzz around the city of Liverpool with people
Well, I
saying,
was-
"I'm
I
looking
was,
forward to
I
the
was,
Magic Weekend."
2 weeks ago, never saw anything about it. Never
And-
saw anything about it.
And here's the joined up thinking of our sport. A couple of people pointing things out on YouTube, KPWH, when PDRL starts this weekend. Who knows?
Yeah.
Fixtures
Right.
are out.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm being
Right?
dropped.
Have you?
Have you been dropped, Scully? I'm not picked. I'm being picked this
Well,
week.
I was told 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I was playing at Anfield, but
So,
Yeah,
so
you're
that's
playing
that.
at
We've
Anfield.
been
So-
dropped. No,
so-
I've not been asked.
I've not been asked.
Been
I've
asked.
not been asked either.
That's all right. That starts
See,
this weekend.
new coach, new broom.
That starts this weekend. Who's
Do we
telling
still
them?
get paid?
I want some pizzas. That's all I want.
It's go for the pizza.
I just want to play for the pizza and a few beers after me. We're lovely. We're brilliant.
Who's telling
Just
anyone
sort of
about it? No one knows. No one knows this is happening. So again, someone and this is the Rugby League. This comes, the RFL. This comes under, doesn't it? Where's the big press release? Where's the big launch to PDRL? No one knows it exists. Colin pointing out, Women's Challenge Cup next round is being played on the same weekend as Magic Weekend.
I'm just
You know what? Cas Fev at the Jungle is probably going to be a much more exciting game than any of the games on the Sunday at the Magic Weekend.
I've just made the point to
It's daft.
right. There's a round of the Challenge Cup this week. The draw will be on Monday, I presume.
No, I think it will be on the BBC.
All right, on the BBC after
Sunday.
the game. All right, so it's on the game. It's on after the game. Why are we not doing the women's draw at the same time? Why is the women's draw not at the same time as the men's
no
draw?
disrespect to Kath Hetherington, but she's not a big name to do the draw, is
Well,
She could have still done it.
Again, no.
But do it on the BBC.
But why not get, one of the ladies that, I don't know, Steph Horton or whatever, that a lot of people will know who Steph Horton is. There's a famous England women's footballer, 100 caps for England. Get her to do the bloody, get some. It's just, you think small, you get small, and that is pathetic. I'm sorry. Oh, it's live on the Our League app. Right, okay. They don't even tweet it out on the RFL account, do they? They don't even do it live.
Not until...
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'm in the car on the way home, stop off for a sandwich, think, oh, what's the draw? Can't find it anywhere.
Well, like you see with me, I was trying to find out the scores from the 1895. And even me, I'm not a computer buff, and I even on the telly, Sport 301, Rugby League. The 1895 Cup we were making, suppose we were going to be making a big song and dance about
on the
it.
BBC website.
It wasn't even on the CFAX. So what the hell are we doing?
And that's not the BBC. People are criticising the BBC.
No, it's not the BBC's
It's not
fault.
their fault because if you're like me and use a website like Flash Scores, they weren't on there either. So whoever was providing the data on the 1895 Cup, they weren't doing it properly.
And they're always surprised that the total attendance at the four ties was 1,250.
It's something's going wrong, and we go back to the fact that we had this big split, haven't we, in Super League and the RFL. Some people have gone one way, some people have stayed the other, and it appears to me from the outside, neither side's talking to each other. Nothing's getting done. I made this point on Twitter the other day. We've got this podcast. We do a podcast on Monday morning.
We do. Of course. So what do you mean? You make it sound like it's you that does all the work there. I don't know what you mean.
There's like coaches and stuff on there. I don't know where we get those interviews from, but often the games we go to. If I go to the NRL website, the post-match press conferences, with every game, both coaches, up there I can watch them. Super League website, Super League YouTube, nothing. RFL YouTube, might as well close it down. There's no content
How many
out
their
there.
subscribers?
There's no content out there.
So we buy it.
We've got a head of creative at the Super League, right? What are they doing? What are they doing?
Can he play halfback?
Got a new head of communications.
I was reading this. I was reading a book, looking in a book the other day about the early days of Channel 4 and how they presented sport. And they brought in the NFL, which was completely alien at that
Which was
point.
brilliant the way they did it.
And that was the key. They didn't show the whole game live because if you put that in front of people, then they're going to switch off, aren't they? They show the highlights. They put the music on.
Yeah.
What are we doing? That's 40 years ago. What are we doing now? We're doing nothing. We expect people just to turn up. We expect them to go to the Magic Weekend and just turn up. What's our great idea? We've got a fan zone. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What are we doing to get people to watch these games? We're doing nothing. Why aren't we putting together a highlights package? We're paying someone as a head of creative. What are they doing?
Again, today is a bank holiday. It's a sparse sporting day. With the greatest respect to the two blokes playing snooker, that's about the limit of what you can see live on a bank holiday afternoon. Do we not look at the calendar and say there are some areas where if we had a major event, even if it's the Hull KR and St Helens game delayed by a day so it can be on bank holiday Monday afternoon and also on Sky, but promoting the rugby league. You were there, you said it was a really enjoyable game. Plenty of tries. Do we not look at the broader sporting calendar and just say there are some areas we can exploit?
Well, this is something that's becoming quite obvious now, is it? We mentioned this before, is that we need to be dictating to Sky, or we need to say to Sky,
when do you
need 10 games, and we're going to give you 10 massive games,
Yeah.
or whatever we're going to do, or we're going to have a double header from wherever. We're going to do something different to get on telly. because there were 4 games on Friday night. So instantly, as we said before,
And again,
4 sets of fans at games. They're not watching the games on the telly. It's self-defeating all the time. We need to do what Premier League football do, what the NFL do, what the golf does, that their main events are on at a certain time, and when they're on, bugger all else is happening in that sport. That's what they need to do, and that's something I think Miss Charleston needs to do
this
now.
afternoon that we could have had a triple header, all on Sky if we'd have managed to sell them the idea. A championship game, a women's Super League game, and a men's Super League
I don't even think you need. Look, as much as I'd love to see that, I don't think you need to do that. I think you need to get one game. The football season has all but ended now. It's all but ended. We need to be on Sky, bigging it up, and they just don't. You know, it is honestly, and you say about not bashing Strelson, but I do think he's missing a trick. I think there are a lot of quick wins that are not happening at the minute in the sport. And that might be because, like Rich said, people aren't talking to each other. They're not doing this. They're not doing that.
And it might be that he's coming up with stuff, but it's still relatively early in his reign for change.
Phil, he's been there nearly a year now.
Yeah.
You can say what you want. That's just.
But
you can't tell me he can't ring his mate up at Sky and go, Bank Holiday Monday. What have you got on? We've got no on because the football's ending.
But can he persuade the chairman to move their games?
So you can't tell me yesterday OKR couldn't have played today against St Helens. St Helens play next week in the Cup on Sunday. Hull KR play Saturday. Well, they could have played on Sunday. No problem. They could have played Sunday.
They could have played today.
Yeah, I know. I mean, next week they could have played on Sunday to give them an extra day's rest.
Yeah.
That could have happened. That game could have been on. Score you with this. It was a decent game.
We'll give it a enjoy it.
So we could have all sat home and watched it this afternoon. Come into the show today. There's nothing. Nothing's on. There's one game
and has a women's game maybe before it, because we need to give that the profile it deserves.
I don't disagree, Phil. I really don't. I'm not meaning that, but I think we've got to look at what is our marquee product and get it on the telly at the right time, and then build, like you said, build around it and have it on. You know what I mean? Even if again, sometimes it's soul destroying, and I know people who we know work at the RFL use that term. It's soul destroying working there, but come on, simple ideas.
I mean, I know I'm not the greatest technical person in the world with the way this show started today, but again, I talk about Super League in the RFL.
Scully's officially gone above you with his use of CFAX.
I know.
He knows the number.
He knows the number of everything.
I know I mentioned Super League in the RFL and their YouTube channels are a waste of space. A lot of the clubs as well, they don't use... So I know they've all got their own TV channels they want to sell at a $5 a pop or whatever, but there's so much content that isn't getting out there to anyone. We're talking to the same people all the time. One of the biggest things that's happened the weekend, which might have gone past most people's view.
David Fafita's chip and chase.
David Fafita's chip and chase, and the big controversy in America with the 20-minute VAR at the end of the race thing. The Kentucky Derby, the big horse race of the weekend.
He lost $2 million, didn't he? The guy that
horse wins by plenty. Someone complains, goes to the VAR. Stewards are in there for about 20 minutes discussing it. Winner gets disqualified.
Yeah, 2.3 million. He got disqualified from first to 17.
Donald Trump's talking about it. It's all over social media. The videos are up there straight away. We just don't do anything.
No.
And the clubs, some of the clubs' output, frankly, I know whatever I've done today, but it looks awful. And they're employing people to do this stuff, and you can't have a go at championship clubs when there's some Super League clubs and I don't mean to criticise, because I know people are probably working hard with a small budget, but there are basic things being done that just look poor.
Okay.
And so you mentioned there's a new creative guy coming in. So when Robert Elson came in, with the two scenarios now, what he's got is first of all the new beginnings, and then now he's looking to revamp Super League. Well, how's that going to happen then?
The biggest problem at the minute for Super League, this is my opinion, right, is I don't think they feel they've got 6 big enough games. When we said just play one game at Easter, one game, one round, and everyone play on separate days. I don't think they're confident enough they've got 6 games they can put on that would attract the attention. Right, I think that's a problem.
It is.
I think that's a problem.
Listen, we was at the game on Huddersfield Wakefield, weren't we? And we said, this year, how many quality games have we? So what, there've been 40 rounds so far, bit of the Challenge Cup, but in 14 rounds, right? How many quality games have we seen? I bet you can count on one hand, can't you? The quality's not there.
Even the exciting game, when you look at the Leeds Cast game, which was really exciting, wasn't a great game.
No.
But isn't this the continuation of the last 4 or 5 years? Haven't we been having this conversation?
It's because we play two. Look, Salford have played Leeds at home twice, and Wigan at home twice in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, and we're going
It's not like we're not bad enough. You've got to play them twice at home. We're going to play them twice at home in like a month.
And
what's the point?
We're going to be playing Warrington again this year about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
But that's the fundamental issue if you're talking about a rebrand. It's not changing a logo and a font and a typeface. It's actively looking at the competition, saying if you have less games and you make bigger events out of the games that you've got, you can move one to a bank holiday Monday because you've got spare.
Exactly.
There's some slack in the calendar.
Exactly.
But if the 12 people who are deciding whether you can do that are the people who would need to perhaps have less home games, how do you manage it?
Matt's mentioned this.
Well,
week.
hold on. This is not to do with less home games.
Well, I think you would get less home games.
Well, you would
if
from
you
the
had
longer term.
less matches across the season, which would increase the quality.
But this weekend is
but we've
not.
been saying this for 5 years.
Yeah, this weekend is nothing. It's the fixture. The fact that we have 4 games on a Friday is bull. It is bull. It should be a game on Thursday. People don't like Thursday games. Don't go. Means the Sky figures go up. They're happy with that. As long as they're happy, they don't give a damn how many people.
And they are.
It's how many people watch. All right. You have a game on Thursday. You have a game on Friday where only 2 teams are playing. So everyone goes, "Oh, I'm not going. No game. I'll go to the pub and watch it, or I'll watch it at home." Or and that's what rugby fans will do.
I'll invest
And we're having
in the
one
game
on Sunday at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night when there's sod all else on the telly. We're having one at 7.
That is interesting. That slot for the Huddersfield St Helens game. 5 past 6 on the Saturday. It's going back to that old slot.
The Bulls used to play at 6 o'clock on a Sunday night, didn't they?
That is interesting to see whether that's a test for the future. Matt, talking about the quality of fixtures at Magic Weekend this year affecting the attendance. Hull FC versus Huddersfield. That's not a neutral bind there, is it? Leeds London.
But again, to me, it's not about the fixtures. It's about whether you think it's an event worth going to, and if it's on your doorstep, you can be very picky and choosy about it. If it's in Newcastle and you're going to have a good weekend, irrespective of who's playing, it becomes a reason to go. At the moment, when we're giving people 2 reasons not to go, one is it's on your doorstep, 2 is the fixtures aren't right.
I mean, I've talked about not staying for Halifax, Bradford. That just gives a long day at the Summer Bash. But
No, it's not because you don't like Bradford.
I don't like Bradford. Come on, up the Fats, up the Blue Sox. But the fixtures at the Bash look a lot better. Toronto, Toulouse. Toulouse are really good. Top 2. Fev York. There's 2 teams that play good rugby. Lee and Widnes, I think. I'm trying to remember all the pictures now. Yorkshire, Lancashire. I don't get the brain issue.
Tell the servants to be quiet, please.
Oh, we've got some new mugs coming, by the way.
Oh,
Someone sent us some mugs, yeah.
I had a bit of controversy about one of the mugs getting stolen recently.
Someone said to me last week, I'll give them a plug properly when they come. Can I be cheeky and send you some mugs and you give us a mention? Like, yeah.
Free stuff. Cheeky.
Yeah.
Have you not seen the show before?
We'll have any free stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, get that. I've already had 2 mugs. Cheers, thank you. Thanks, Ledge.
Neil says, if clubs need more games, go in the Challenge Cup around early. No one goes to the Challenge Cup though. Or set up a proper county cup competition. No, surely not. I said the Lancashire Cup got an airing at Swinton this weekend.
Yeah.
With Ellery Hanley's name.
Ellery Hanley.
I was doing some research this week for something else, which will become apparent in the future. I didn't realise that in the 80s, when Ellery Hanley had fallen out with Wigan, Wakefield, who of course are the kings of trying to sign people, trying to sign Ellery Hanley on loan from Wigan. Or a free.
Is that yeah, but that's probably akin to Wigan. Who have Wigan been linked with? The rugby. Is it Farrell? Who's the rugby union player? Like, as if that's ever going to happen. That's like Scully asking Miss World out or whatever on a day. I mean, the intention is there, but it's not going to happen, is it?
Neil also says, bring back the War of the Roses. Elsewhere, Stephen asks why Bradford always last on the Summer Bash.
Hold on, Matt.
They're big fans.
Hold on. If Bruce Forsyth can manage Miss World, I've half a chance of managing Miss World, so don't be doing that.
I think Bruce Forsyth today has got more of a chance of managing Miss World.
I could quietly say, good game, alright my love.
When you finished eating that muffin anyway, we'll ask you about David Fafita's chip and chase, which was the highlight of the weekend.
Have we been too negative, Sam? I know people...
No, we haven't. No, not at all. Not at all. There are a lot... Phil, me and Phil, you know, we do have a production meeting before this show comes on.
Well, I
it,
try
lasts
and break
about,
everything.
it lasts about 12 seconds. But there's not actually a great deal of great things to
Why am I
talk
not in the
about.
production meeting?
You're too
Yeah,
busy
well,
eating
yeah.
buns.
You're eating buns, yeah.
How
So,
good's Mason Cameron Brown's return been, Bob?
It has,
He just stepped off
yeah.
a plane and has, you know,
Yeah, he's
scored
done
all
well.
the tries,
He's
doing
done
all
well.
the stuff.
Bad
Have we
news-
done enough as a sport to promote David Fafita's feet, by the way?
No,
Well,
it's
that's
not
what I
one
was
of
gonna
those
say.
things.
Because when you know, there was a try scored in the NRL this week that St George scored
Yeah.
that covered the length of the field, involved 4 or 5 magnificent interpasses. The NRL have been flogging the guts out of that try.
Yeah.
On Twitter, virtually every other tweet is, you know, this is what our great sport's about. To the point where even people like me will retweet it because it is a great piece of skill and you're proud of it because it's part of a sport that you admire. David Fafita's chip and chase, which I have seen on the highlights, but not really cut out and promoted in its own right as a wonderful piece of skill from a bloke who should be banned from being part of the prop forwards union. What have we done to sell the sport on the back of that?
Well, Legend was apps. I just looked at the Legend.
Oh,
was
let's
sat
not
behind
keep- let's
it.
not keep
I just
carrying
turned
it,
around and looked
Oh,
at him, and he was like, he was heartbroken with Scott, absolutely heartbroken. He was like, he got the ball and he was like, what's he done? He scored, I don't believe it.
Yeah, do you know what it was? That was like on a training paddock, right? And they're having a bit of fun, and then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, we're on the last cycle, have a bit of fun. I'll do a chip and chase. And I thought to myself, what the hell is he doing that for?
It was actually a good kick, to be fair.
It was a quality kick. And I tell you what, the urgency, the way he won the ball, but as we know what Dana McIntosh did from there, realistically, it shouldn't have been a try. But one thing for sure, what Fafita did, the purpose when he went after he thought, I'll tell you what, I fancy this. If he cops it up, I'm going to get myself a 4 points. It was brilliant to see, but it's something what he will do on the training paddock. I would imagine every training session.
Well, Chris Chester told us, didn't he, on the video, and he said, I can't tell you what I said when he kicked.
Well, I would imagine so. I would imagine so. But it's one of them where you think, you know, if I do this, it's like Dwyer's drop kick against Cass.
Yeah.
You know, he said, oh, Richie Hager keeps telling me I should be drop goals. But he'll keep doing it, and one time it will come off, and that's exactly what it came off there for Fafita.
Well,
Great to see, and but also as well, not just Fafita there from the different aspects of what he's bringing to Wakefield, but when he went off the pitch on Friday night, it was a massive loss, absolute massive loss. So that's just showing you now the sort of leader what Fafita's coming from there, and the respect he's getting from his fellow players with the leadership what he's bringing in. That's why he got my 3 points. Not because of the chip and chase. It reminded me of somebody back in my days, to be honest with you. But yeah, his leadership and the quality of what he does, and I say both in attack and defence, he got my 3 points on
Robert Elston said at the beginning of his reign that one of the things he was determined to do was to make personalities out of the players. Well, there was an opportunity. I mean, the way David Fafita has played this season, the cult figure he's become at Wakefield.
I think the only time David Fafita has come on Robert Elston's agenda is for wearing pink shorts.
Does anybody outside of rugby league know David Fafita?
How do we, as a sport, promote personalities? We make them act like morons on TV. That's our idea of
The
promoting
try Tommy
personalities.
Makinson scored yesterday. Again, only seen it on a highlights clip, but should that not have been blasted all over social media?
Well, you would have also, Regan Grace as well, his try when he scored, 70 yards out, wasn't the best of kicks from Dan Maguire, but still, it had to be scored from there, and the pace what they've got, but you keep mentioning, Phil, about, the profiles of our players and getting them out there, but unfortunately, we're a small sport, and until we are a small sport, but until we start telling people we have got the greatest game of all in rugby league, well, nobody's going to be interested. So we've got to tell people about.
You watch the NFL Red Zone. What do they do at the end? They show you the 10 fastest runners or whatever. This guy got to however many miles an hour.
But
Why do we do that? Why don't we say put on the thing? Grace ran it in whatever.
I agree.
Makinson did it
Social media.
Absolutely.
So from Lee did it in quicker.
Yeah,
He's
I
the
agree.
quickest mile.
Absolutely. But we don't do it.
But
It's
social
just
media is
publicity on
made
social
for that,
media.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And
yeah.
it's
a
free.
gimmick.
It's
a
free.
gimmick.
As long as you've got somebody churning the stuff out, you create the interest.
It's like from our sport. It's like we want to be secretive with what we've got. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's
We want to be. Why don't we tell everybody what a great sport we've got and what great superstars we've got and what great athletes, as they call them nowadays, we've got. The flying wingers going in and scoring the tries from distances and the diving tries and all this sort of thing. Tell people what we've got.
So I might doing try of the week on Tuesday or whatever and vote on the app, but the majority of people aren't seeing that. we've got to get these clips out to people as soon as they happen, or as soon as we possibly can. I know it's difficult when a game like Huddersfield Wakefield, which isn't on the telly, but you've got to get these clips out there. That's how you create stars, is by showing them do things that people think, bloody hell, how's he done that?
And
Why's that big fella done that?
I could go
on
and
there?
see him next week because
Yeah.
the game he's playing at is not far from where I live. So even though I don't support the team that he might play for, I want to go and see him because I've heard of him.
But we'll build him as a personality by, if Wakefield get through in the next round of the Cup and beat Widnes and they get on the BBC, they'll stick a mic in him like they did with Ashton Sims, and that's how he'll become a personality. Not through his actual ability, but by acting like a Burke. So we are our own worst enemies. We can do all this stuff. We have the ability to do this stuff. It's not hard to clip out a video and put it on social media. We can do it. Jeez. And the sport can't. And the sport, or not the sport can't, the sport doesn't.
Yeah.
And it is simple. And it is frustrating
And
for everyone.
inexpensive for a sport that doesn't have unlimited
They're
funds.
paying people to do that. We've got to, what is the point of having a head of creative who so far has done that video at the start of the season,
Which can I say it was
went down
crap?
like a,
It was
you know,
crap. It was crap.
It was better than the Brownlees.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was, because if you don't know who Jermaine McGilvray, etc., are, it's a non-entity. We all know that. Even some of the players, I didn't know who they were. I thought, I don't know who that is.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing with that.
so and it was always going to be followed up. There's going to be loads of them.
Yeah.
Where have they
Well,
gone?
we're halfway through the
Where have they
season
gone?
now.
But that's the same
Honestly.
thing with the Magic Weekend video, which everyone got criticised
I
as well.
haven't seen
There were
it.
lots of tries in front of empty stands and not star. You need to show star players who people might have heard of, even if they're just doing nothing. Here's Sam Tompkins pointing at someone, but people have heard of him because he's on the telly. We don't know what we're doing, and I don't know. It's so frustrating because we can sit here and say these things over and over again. People can't see it because they choose the wrong options time and time again. If you're a coach and you pick a player and they're a halfback and they take the wrong option time and time again, and you keep picking that player and they keep doing the same thing, it's not the player's fault, it's your fault for picking them. And the sport keeps picking the wrong people to do things.
Okay, fair enough. Talk about Wakey then. Huddersfield. Led, you were there, I was there, we watched it. Wakey got off to a great start. Huddersfield blasted into its second half, looked like they were going to run away with it at one point.
Yeah.
One pass on the grass, Ben Jones-Bishop goes 80 yards and the game turns on its head, but Wakey had a lot missing. Huddersfield not so many missing, and Wakey found a win. He had a feeling to me, Gary. I know it was a bit of a run-of-the-mill game. It felt like it was Wakefield saying, we can come here and win with half a team. You know, and I just think they're a team, and I was lucky enough to spend a bit of time with them last week in their company. They are such a tight group of people.
Yeah.
They're all laughing and joking. I genuinely, I'm going to say it now, I think this year Wakefield could win Super League.
Oh,
Seriously.
dear me.
No, I think they can. I think they can.
He's fainting.
I think they
I'll have to
can.
get the coaches.
I
bumped.
genuinely
Get the bumps
think
in now.
Wakefield, I said they'd met the playoffs at the start of the season. I'm going to say it now. When they get their bodies fit, they can beat St Helens. They can beat Warrington. I think they can win Super League.
Well, I said it 2 weeks ago. Wakefield, for me, at this moment in time, they will make the five. But exactly what I will compliment and say what you said from there is, when they do get all the full bodies back, Wakefield, for me, for what I've seen so far this season, with the full bodies back, can be the side for 80 minutes compete with Warrington and St Helens. I buy into that.
It's one game.
And,
They're only winning one game.
Yeah,
to get to
no,
the final.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, Wakefield for 80-minute performance can do that with everybody, with all the bodies on from there. So I don't have a disagreement with that. When you look at Wakefield now, and certainly on Friday night, what won them that game, apart from Darnell McIntosh, make it absolutely
They made an error. They dropped the ball, made an error,
yeah,
and they got a penalty.
Matt, listen. It was a very, very average kick. The Wakefield players were 50 metres away. In sport, you always take the simple options. Always take the simple options. So he's not getting any sympathy from me whatsoever. You know, he's cost his side there.
Well, to be fair, Simon Wolford said the same after. He said, look, he's been our best player all year, but he's made some mistakes that have hurt his teammates, and he's got to be better than that.
He made three of them. He made three because that shocking pass or drop ball, George Bishop. But anyway, you don't expect that from him. Of course, he's a quality player, but you don't expect that, you know. So, but from Wakefield's point of view, Ches has mentioned the injuries and this, but he's not playing on injuries because what he's saying to his players, and as you mentioned that team spirit, what they've got from there, the Wakefield players who were coming in, And I thought Reynolds had his best game for Wakefield. I thought it was good in organisation. The combination with Ryan Hampshire, again, what I talk about with halfbacks, they're not getting each other's way. They're both taking charge when it's necessary. But good variation, what they're both doing, so that was good to see. But then two players know, when Bruffy and Miller come back, they'll be straight back in there. But what they are doing, they're enjoying the opportunities while they're getting it. And they want to be part of Wakefield's side that, this year, as we've mentioned, they could be successful. If they get a good cup run, don't rule Wembley out. If they get the best players back from there, yes, they will make the 5, and they are going to be one of them teams on the day for that 80 minutes, could have a beat Warrington and St Helens. But the great thing for Wakefield is they're playing with a smile on the face, and you've got to give great credit to the coach Chester there, because that's not coaching, that's all about man management, and he's got a very, very happy camp.
What do you make of it, Rich? So your team,
Oh, it's all exciting, isn't it?
I know you backed them to win at Wembley,
Well, of
so
course,
you've
yeah,
already,
but I do that every year, so that's...
Who have they got next round? Wakefield.
Winners.
Right.
The repeat of the great 1979 final.
Same in the women's next round as well. So could be double success for Wakefield. Our friend Stephen, who called me in the bus station earlier today.
Oh, Stephen, is this Steve Cram?
Yeah.
He messaged me last night at midnight. I said, Steve, come on, the missus thinks I've got a fancy woman on the go here. He's like messaging me at 12 o'clock. So, Steve, I appreciate your messages. Just don't do them so late.
He thinks Scully don't like Wakefield, but I put him to bed.
Oh no, I don't.
I tell him this all the time.
Where do Wakefield fans get it? Where I don't like them. Every fan,
We tell them.
every fan thinks that I don't like them.
We tell them.
Every time I go to Huddersfield, there's a couple you see them myself. They come in reception. Oh, you're here again. What are you going to say about us in your column this week? I say to him, I don't say anything about you in the column because you're not worth it. You know what I mean?
How to win friends and influence people by Gary Schofield.
You're not worth mentioning, so you know there's nothing in the column about you, to be honest with you. But no, Wakefield, you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I
There's
think,
also ways about it.
Winning close games and everything. It's
If St Helens have an Achilles heel, and it looks at the moment that they don't, because I think again some of the kids that they're bringing in are excelling, and there's a genuine quality competition for places at Saints, and they're learning, I think, from what happened to them last year, that you can be the best team throughout the year, but if you're not the best team when it really matters, you're not going to win. So I think there is a little bit of acknowledgement of that. But you can imagine the one thing that would be in the back of St Helens' mind is we're doing exactly what we did last year. We're blowing everybody away. We're exciting everybody with the way we play. Is it going to get to a one-off cup tie game and we're found wanting it? And a team that could do that would be away from
They would. What I would say about St Helens,
But
they are
they'd have
doing
to be-
different.
yeah.
They're just leaving one or two out here.
Yeah,
they are.
they're rotating their shot.
Holbrook has
But-
learned his lesson.
But the quality that they're bringing in as well.
Oh, no,
through
we
kids.
talk about recruitment as well. Yeah, but we talk about recruitment. They're
The setting on the fullback, like
Coot the
in
fullback.
the Guam and the centre.
How good was
Yeah.
the Brahma yesterday?
Oh yeah, quality. Not just scoring his stride, but also to being a good winger centre. You know, the interplay between him and Makinson. I tell you what, Makinson, he looks as though he's putting an extra yard or two of pace on.
Well,
as well.
I've not forgiven him that time at Salford when he
Yeah.
ran 70 yards and got caught by some fat bloke that cost me a fortune. So he didn't look like he put on a yard of pay. He looked like putting 3 stone that night.
Well, to be honest with you, that's a bit harsh. But yesterday, he's finishing, and also to the combination, the way that the combine was a pleasure to watch yesterday. Well, but as you mentioned with St Helens, and you know, I think they're going to have the best player in Super League for many years to come in Morgan Knowles. Absolute sheer quality.
Would you pick him for Great Britain?
Oh, no two ways about it. No two ways about it. And I know we look at the forwards there, we look at the captaincy, but this kid's going to be the next Great Britain England captain. I would sling him in now.
What, Wales captain?
No, Great Britain.
Yeah, you said Great Britain and England.
Oh, well, if he wants to play for England, he can do, can't he?
Yeah, but he should.
Well,
be playing for
any else
Wales.
want to come and play for
Should
him, but
be
anyway.
playing for Wales.
He won't get in the England team because Blake Austin only playing.
I don't know.
Oh no, it's a different. Before I don't play that.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. But Morgan Knowles, for me, in the next year or two, he's going to be the best player in Super League. The way that he plays is like an old-fashioned loose forward where his ball handling skills are good, he's tough in defence, he wants to take the ball from there, but he just takes so much pressure of his halfbacks, and it's a pleasure to watch.
Well, what does it say to him that Holbrook keeps picking him? He picks him all the time.
Yeah, but also,
what a boost that is for him.
But the fact of the matter is, as well, this from a player's point of view, and what your coach is giving, he's giving him that responsibility.
That's
as well.
what I mean, and he's dealing with it.
Well, do you know what? Why can't more coaches give that to young quality English players? Because we talk about a pathway now. You've mentioned the Great Britain scenario. We're talking about this pathway through. We're talking about playing Aussies and this sort of thing. Well, when you mention the three that have been mentioned, Lachlan Coote and Jackson Hastings and Blair Cossin, and by the way, I know what Kevin said about it, but at the end of the day, Kevin Sinfield wouldn't like it when he was playing. He wouldn't have liked it when Australia took his place at the standoff.
We should ask Doc what he thinks about it.
Is what?
Ask Doc when he thought it was going on.
Oh yeah, toss and toilet. Yeah.
You remember when he told you?
Yeah.
I thought we were getting picked, and I didn't get picked. And he went, "I think we're for an Australia."
I know. Yeah. Exactly. So
He was born in Torquay.
I couldn't care less, right? Them three players who I've mentioned back in Australia. I don't think.
Have we got a rugby league team in Torquay?
But I don't think they've been good enough to play for City Country, have they? Right, and they're certainly not good enough to play Origin. So for me, why the bloody hell are they good enough to play for Great Britain? I'm not having it.
Well,
but anyway,
let's see.
That's that subject.
By the way, Alan has messaged me. He said the Intra Super Cup Queensland Feeder League of the NRL posts top 5 action video every week, whether tries, tackles, skillful play, etc. It is easy to do.
It is easy to do. I clip out things off here. It's not that hard. If I can do the Prediction Super League as a separate video and it gets however many views, it's not hard for me to do as a one-man outfit when they've got a budget.
By the way, the Salford people have actually requested that we tip them every week. I said that's all well to doing that, but when we tip you to win, you do actually lose.
Just on Wakefield and Neil Fox's birthday at the weekend, 80 years old.
Congratulations, Foxy.
Benefit
Oh,
program.
by the way, as well, congratulations, Johnny Thompson and Mick Morgan being inducted to the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah,
they had a good night there on Friday night, so well done to them too.
Yeah, Wakefield have a great period of history in the 60s, obviously, when they won 3 Challenge Cups, 2 championships. Ken Trail's obviously the greatest coach in their history. But apart from that, Wakefield's been, pretty much rubbish for 100 odd years. There's a great argument that with the consistency of their finishing at the moment in terms of their top positions, obviously it's very early in his career to say this, Chris Chester's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches in the history of the club. With the way they're doing it at the moment.
When he wins Super
When he wins the Challenge Cup and the Super League, they should win the treble and go off to win the World Club Challenge against whoever, some foreigners, next year. So
when they come down to Bellevue.
Yeah, the Mobile Rocket, the home of Rugby League. For the World Club Challenge.
So do you ever wonder why Hutchell sacked him as OKR coach?
Well, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened, hasn't it?
No.
It's all great.
What's happened to the 2 clubs since?
I just want to say, well, can I say
Can
I say thank you to Jamie Peacock for sacking Chris Chester? Cheers, Jamie. Look forward to seeing you on the Super League show again. Andy was talking about St Helens. He's not a big fan, or not as big a fan as Lachlan Coote. He says he's not as good as Barber, but Kevin Nakama is the one making the difference, not getting the headlines as much as Coote.
Lachlan Coote's a totally different player, and
is he more of a team player?
Without a shadow, you just hit the nail on the head there, Mark. He's a team player, and the pressure what he takes off the halfbacks with the kicking game, goal kicking as well. He kicking them from all over the place as well. So he adds that, he brings that to his game as well. But he's a team player. Individual stuff as well is good, but there were 2 or 3 occasions yesterday when OKR put the kick through from there, and it may not be as quick as Barber, but his positional play to get there early enough, the experience and quality as a player what he is, just making sure he nullified OKR's attack from there. Quality player and a team player, whereas Barber had that individual brilliance what not too many players have.
And a very, very proud Scotland international. So eligible for rugby.
Well, from Dumbarton or something. 4 points clear.
Yeah.
Going into the cup this week, St Helens.
Yeah. I won't give them the shield just yet.
I must say that OKR played well yesterday, and obviously the reason why OKR are where they are because they conceded.
Well, they conceded 420 points. They've got by far the worst record.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like
that's 30 a week. They're conceding on average 30 a week.
But the point is, if you score 26 points, you should win the game, shouldn't you? Really? So they can't defend. But what I will say about OKR, the way I saw him yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, how come you're playing like this? How come you are second bottom in the league?
Is it easier?
Because they played very well yesterday.
They can't do it every week.
Well, and also as well for what they can do
periods of game.
In the 80 minutes, like Huddersfield, the mistakes what the players come up as individuals. They played well yesterday at OKR for 12-15 minutes, and then went off the ball for 25, and then played well again for the next 10 or 12 minutes, and then went off the ball, which you cannot do, and that's why they're getting found out.
Is it easier to play well against a team in a match which you know you're going to lose?
I wouldn't have said so. No, I wouldn't have said so. But to be honest with you, no, because have a look. OKR
they weren't very good against Hull FC, were they?
No.
They're dreadful. The whole 80.
What about the bench? Have they got enough quality coming off the bench? Because certainly with teams like St Helens, when they go 12-0 down, the quality that they can bring off the bench, the intensity doesn't necessarily drop, it actually goes up. But you tend to find with teams that are anchored towards the
Well,
bottom
it's
of the
pretty
table.
obvious they haven't got the same quality, have they? They haven't got it, you know, and okay.
And is that because they went for less bodies this
Yeah, they've
year?
gone for less bodies and so-called, you know, better quality players, haven't they? But
So when they get injuries like everybody gets, it makes more of a difference.
they are struggling badly.
What do they do this week against
Salford.
Salford? How do they approach that game? I mean, you would think on paper that London obviously are on this awful run of form. They've got a week off this week as well. How do Hull KR approach that game?
Well, to be honest with you, when you look at them, they're going to get nowhere near the 5. So what it's like when you look at all the teams. You look at Hull, you look at Cass, same as Salford, Hull KR, Leeds from a point of view, we're from there. Wigan, you look at the Giants, and forget about the Saints, Catalans as well. Who are they playing, Catalans?
Doncaster.
Yeah, so forget about. So the teams that I've just mentioned there, it's going to be their only chance of getting to a final, maybe winning a trophy.
That's where I think Salford are dangerous. Because I think Salford are a good enough team that if they prioritise
for
the challenge,
Wembley, that's what I'm saying.
that they're only 3 games away,
Yeah.
I think that they will target Hull KR this week and say, look, we can win this, and not only that, but we're a team that others aren't going to want to play.
Well, it's like what Mark said, Hull FC resting their players, as he said, he can bet your bottom
They'll
dollar.
all be there. They'll all be there Friday.
They'll be back this week for the casket, because they will be targeting the challenge because they're not going to win the grand final.
If I was Ian Watson, knowing that I've got only 26 players, and some of those again are not my first choice players, I've virtually got 17 every week that I would choose if I could. I know that this team is going to break up at the end of the year, which is the real worrying thing that he said in the press conference afterwards. I will be saying to his guys, 3 games and we can go out at Wembley. I think as dark horses, without pandering to the Salford fans who would like to say we'll lose every week, I think they're a danger in the cup.
Isn't the problem for Ian Watson, you were going to mention this earlier, is that, and Salford as a club, they can't do anything about the club breaking up because there's no money there.
He was pointedly asked whether Rob Louis, who clearly was the man of the match on Friday, was leaving at the end of the year because he's been linked, somewhat ironically, with a move to Hull KR, who they play.
Yeah, but you know what? I was told yesterday.
200 grand a year they wants apparently.
Yeah, but also as well,
he wants Tim Sheens as the coach.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So the players, what Rob Louis said to Hull KR, I want to know before I sign for Hull KR if Tim Sheens is the coach, because if he's not, I'm not coming. Yeah. Well, for me, if I'm Neil Hudson, I'll be saying, hold on, we want you to come here as our marquee signing with the dollars what you're asking for. We want you to come here to make us a better team. Whoever the coach is. I know if I were Mr. Hudson, I know I'd be saying to Robert Louis, stick it up your backside, son. You're not coming here. You're not dictating to us.
But
no way, mate.
Going back to Salford, Ian Watson very cleverly answered the question, but between the lines of his answer said there's no way we can keep Rob Louis because he's being offered the kind of money that, as a guy, I would want him to have, but we seriously cannot match. And when asked about some of the other, they've got quite a few off contracts at the end of the year, and he's basically saying we can't keep them.
How could LKR afford to pay £200,000 to somebody who, from a point of view, is he going to get?
But Danny Maguire out of contract end of the season. I'm presuming he's going to be on quite a lot, not near that much.
Yeah, but also, is Robert Louis going to get LKR anywhere near the 5?
I'm not saying. I don't know.
Is he else?
You know,
no way.
But if he was that good, wouldn't that team who's already around there be after him?
If he wasn't that good, why aren't we going to Leeds chasing him?
Well, we go back to Josh Drinkwater.
You don't know if they are, do you?
The big thing at the end of last season was we've all got to sign Josh Drinkwater because he's had 2 good games for Catalans and we're okay. And it's not one man can't turn a team around. I'm not saying that, but people get hyped up, don't we?
I think the other thing that Ian Watson said, because I think it is significant, that if we're trying to build sustainable businesses within Super League, which is part of what modern sport
that'd be
is,
a good idea,
whether we like it or not, that the reason he gave why Salford can't be in the market is that they haven't got the kind of backers that some other clubs have, but they're not getting people through the gate that allows them the revenue that will keep the star name. So it becomes then a self-perpetuating situation, doesn't it? If you can't get the people through, you can't keep the players. If you can't get the players, you can't get the people through. What does a club like Salford do?
Hold on 1 second though. They get enough money off Sky to in
1.85
effect fund the salary cap.
Yeah.
They don't have a reserves.
Well, they're going to have to from next year.
Well, yeah, but they don't have one now.
But that's
They don't have an academy.
again
So where is
standard
their money getting? Why haven't they got enough money?
historic debt.
I thought there'd been.
Some
Oh,
from a certain individual.
yes. Where are the Liverpool?
Coming in, well, they're going to win the
Doodahs?
Super League by
Liverpool
2023.
Doodahs. Thingy bobs.
Do
Could be a
they?
Lakers. Could be a Lakers.
The Liverpool prevaricated, procrastinated.
Are they allowed to use that badge?
Don't know.
Is that all Super League done last week?
Pretty much.
I mean, we.
Cass and Warrington.
Well, no, we need to get put the booting on Leeds, don't we?
Oh yeah,
Salford.
Leeds in crisis is back.
It's back.
It was
Um,
off for a week
Same
and it's back
mistake.
in.
Before we do that, 20 years in Super League JJB this week, so we should pay some kind of homage to that. But on the field, the team.
What people forget about JJB is that for the first 2 years of his career, when he was a young kid trying to break into the team, he was almost permanently injured. Had terrible groin problems that it looked like was going to end his career as a 19-year-old.
Right.
So to have played into his 20th season at the top level is a phenomenal achievement.
It is absolutely wonderful. He's been a great servant to the club.
And he went off after 15 minutes on Friday night
Mm.
with sciatica, which didn't help.
No.
And it's a worry now that is going to blight the end of his
But
career.
doesn't that go back to what we've probably referred to earlier this year, is the fact that Leeds have given longer contracts to players, perhaps based on sentiment?
Well, if you're going to be honest, Ablett and JJB, both great clubmen, great servants to the club.
Yeah,
both
both
have been
warriors.
rewarded with new things, but they haven't played. They haven't played. And I
And
don't
they've
know how
been
much they're
need-
getting
and they've been
paid,
needed.
but they haven't played.
Their leadership has been needed.
It has.
People take it as a criticism of the people. It's not a criticism of the people. People get hurt.
Yeah.
And people, and you get older,
yeah.
and your body doesn't recover. And
Yeah.
but no, they're both players. They have been great servants to the club. Total warriors. But I say the time is now, and obviously end of the season for the pair of them. But the way that JJB is with his injuries, let's just hope that it's not going to be too bad for him, and he can. Well, he's talking about Leeds, if they can get on the run, that can make the five and maybe win a bit of silverware. But
Well, they could do. But
you
the
never
facts
know.
are, at the minute, it looks a million miles away.
yeah, as from a team point of view, but as far as the two players go, certainly JJB, absolute warrior, and he will go down as a club legend, and fully deserves it.
And he'll have a long career post-rugby involved with the club and the city and whatever else he wants to, because he has turned into a massive ambassador for the sport as much as Leeds, and should be listened to because he is an inspirational guy.
He is. But on the field, Leeds.
Well, Super League now has got 3 divisions, hasn't it? It's got St Helens and Warrington that are up there at the top, and on their day will beat anybody. And as we've seen, Saints are just slightly above Warrington. You've then got a clutch of 5 clubs who are much of a muchness, could beat each other any given week, could all make a claim for at some point being in the 5. Some have had horrendous defeats, but are doing enough to hang in there. And then there's the bottom 5, and including Wigan in that at the moment, who just have no consistency at all at the moment, other than they are consistently more likely to lose than to win, because they can't put 2 wins back to back together. And Leeds are one of those things.
Leeds at Bradford at the weekend. What the
66% say Leeds are going to win.
Yeah, I think
So
I think they will.
they should win, and they will win.
Yeah.
It will be the perfect kind of match there, isn't it? Is if Bradford run them close,
Bradford
And
score
then-
early. Look like there's a hint of an
and
upset.
then Leeds run away with it later on.
What is the problem at Leeds, Phil?
The inability to defend a penalty, the inability to keep their line intact from 20 metres in, the inability to come up with a last tackle play that either hurts the opposition or gets a repeat set of 6. Individually, they've got some good performers.
Well, who you got then? Who's playing
Well,
well?
certainly Conrad Hurrell,
Yeah.
who every time he's played has made a huge difference,
Yeah.
and is still one of the leading meter.
I don't think you need to justify him. Well, we'll give you that
Trent
one.
Merrin, who again is top of the offloads, was missed when he wasn't there. I think he has played really well. Ash Handley has been excellent this year. Been scoring really good tries and taking the pressure off
Plays
off his
outside
force.
Hurl, be
No,
expected.
but the last 3 weeks he hasn't. He's been equally as good.
Yeah.
So I think
I like
he's been
him, I
a
think he's
success.
alright.
I think Liam Sutcliffe is in better form this year than he has been for the
Failed at
previous
6
years.
before, why is he the answer now?
Maybe because he's been given the shirt and told that he's got to. This is last chance saloon. It's either make or break because he's another one that's out of contract at the end of the year.
Well, we brought Waller here in there to solve that problem, so
But I think Sutcliffe deserves the shirt.
Waller here on Friday was like a matador at fullback. Did you see him when he
For the
waved
one
that?
try.
He waved that.
Yeah.
He waved that towel, and the guy went straight through it and scored.
why
It's
is he?
like, what the
Awesome.
hell was that? That you know what? I'm a failed fullback from my
Are you?
junior days. Crikey! At least I got run over rather than move out of the way.
Yeah, but my question:
Jeez.
why is he still getting picked?
Well, because Jack Walker's in.
Well, what about Ascolden? He's playing. He's
It's
playing
his
well.
fair.
Featherstone, but else.
Ostracised.
His face
He's
doesn't
been
fit,
ostracised.
doesn't it?
Ostracized. What, like Bernie Clifton?
Ostracized.
Dave says Harry Newman's brilliant.
Well, he's got a lot to learn, but he's got a massive potential for a 19-year-old.
As Nigel points out, Wigan have won 3 in a row.
They, as I said, yeah, I said that they have won games. Who have they beaten? Who did they beat?
London.
Cass,
London, Cass, and who were the other one?
Can't remember. Someone East of
Salford?
Salford.
Salford. Yeah. So they've beaten
What's the
one
same?
team in the top 6.
What's
Well
the
done.
weight?
We'll get you a badge.
Saw that
We'll
game
have a
against.
t-shirt.
Saw that
mate.
game against.
Come back, Nigel. If they win this weekend,
Well,
pal, then
the
I'll
next 3 weeks, if they
Yeah.
can win.
I'm not saying this is a Wakefield fan, but that game against Wakefield at Bellevue a few weeks ago, Wakefield never looked tested.
Yeah.
When they went 4-0 down, there was never any doubt that Wakefield were going to go on and win the game. And that's not a, oh, look, oh, you don't say that because you're a Wakefield fan. No, that's...
No.
well, the
Wigan's
game-
defence is fantastic. It keeps them in games. They're
They haven't got
struggling.
points.
You play against
They
good
haven't
teams that
So it's
score
Like
20 points.
Sky we predicted last week they'd win by 30. They haven't got 30 points.
32, I said.
Yeah.
Steve knows, he says, why is Lolahai getting played? Because he's getting paid a lot.
I don't think he's getting paid that much. He's not a marquee signing.
You'll still be getting a few quid. You don't
Yeah,
go
he will,
halfway around the
he
world
will
for
be
free.
a few quid, but that's not the reason why he's being picked.
Racing.
All right, we'll come back to. We've had a dig at Wigan about what's happened there. Let's talk recruitment at Leeds. No doubt in Hurrell has been a success. I think Merrin probably has. But as we said earlier, you know, they lost a lot of key players last year, and they haven't replaced. The squad is weaker, I think, than it was last year.
I think there's some allowance for the kids coming through. Mentioned Harry Newman before. At some
Hold on,
point,
hold on. If
they've got some good kids.
I'm not saying they haven't got any kids, but he's only played a couple of games. If he was that good, he'd be playing every week, wouldn't he?
No, I think he's making his way at the moment. He's Aledzki is another one.
What about the Callum Wilkinson?
Had his best game this week. Best game of the season.
Without being rude, that
No, but I he didn't.
that is not a glowing reference because he's
Well,
not been good.
It's not, but you can only get better, can't you? And there were signs.
And what about the captaincy with him?
I don't think captaincy is an issue anymore. And what do you do as a captain apart from toss a coin before a game? It's about a senior group.
I'd
of
imagine,
players, isn't it?
yeah, but I'd imagine when you're the captain of one of the most successful teams,
And biggest club in the game.
getting battered,
And biggest club in the
he's
game.
probably
Yeah,
feeling
but
quite down on.
don't you need some help from the players?
Well, this is
around?
where I come back, and this is where we come back to recruitment. The recruitment hasn't been good enough, has it? And this is where, you know, I want to look at Sinfield.
Some
He
of
brought
it-
in James Laws,
Yeah.
he's gone, so that's another failed
Brad
decision.
Dwyer's been a decent recruit,
But Dwyer was 2 and he couldn't get in the team under McDermott.
but he's doing all right this year.
He's
You
doing
ask-
all right.
You ask most of the supporters, and he would be the
Oh, I'm not saying
player of the year.
when I've watched Leeds, he's been the only player,
Mhm.
barring Hurrell, and I'll give you Merrin, he's been the
So
only player worth
some
watching.
of the recruitment has been okay, but it's very hard in a cyclical sport that is
Why is it?
salary capped
Why is
to
it?
get people who are the same.
Why do
calibre as those
Wakefield
that are
manage
moving.
it then? Why did Castleford manage it?
I think Castleford and Wakefield have gone on a play, and they recruit to keep at a level that is gradually going up. Leeds have had a generation of players. You cannot replace a
They've
group
even
that-
tried. I don't think they have.
I
I
think
don't think they've
I
even
think,
tried.
I think they have this season.
Oh, they have this
I think
year?
they're starting
What,
to do
you're
that.
3 years too late, or 5 years too late? You know, Richie, we go back to what Scully said about Richie Marl. I thought it was harsh at the time, but Richie Marl will be on a lot of money, and he ain't winning Leeds any games. He isn't.
Well-
that's the cold fact of it. You're gonna
I
judge
would-
it. All right,
I
well,
would
here's one.
dispute that.
Would you judge him as a success or a failure? You
At the
can't be
moment,
successful. You can't be
I would
successful.
say, as the current player of the year and regained an international shirt, he had a good season last year. So yes,
Here's Sandy.
Wow.
Or Stephen first.
All right, here's one for you then. Does Richie Marley get in the St Helens team? Does he get in the Warrington team?
But who does
he get in the Castleford team
who
when they're
does
fit?
at the moment?
Just
Even
asking
Danny
a question.
Richardson can't get into the St Helens team.
I'm just asking. Look, it's not. I like Richie. He's a nice lad, but you're getting rid of a club legend and you're signing.
I
Richie
think
Marley.
at the time,
If they'd have signed Blake Austin, that'd have been an acceptable signing.
they would have then had to have had a policy of marquee players.
Have Leeds waited? Has Gary Etherington waited too long to walk on a checkbook at Leeds? And is it now?
Yeah,
Are they 3 years behind?
What he's had to do is sign marquee players.
But he can only sign two.
Yeah, but he didn't want to sign any in the previous 2 years.
Yeah, but he had to because the squad, even he can see the squad ain't good enough.
But that might be the mistake, that they decided not to go down the road of marquee players. So they had to.
I forget there's a big accusation on social media every week that Phil's very anti-Wigan, always getting digs in at Wigan.
Oh.
That's what social media says. Elsewhere,
I can't be far behind you.
I didn't realise I'd gone in front of you.
I'm just pushing you. It's like a shepherd. I'm just pushing you.
All I'm saying is the facts are that Wigan's crowd is diminishing to the point where the issue is not about success on the field.
Conspiracy theory from Stephen. Leeds are too busy loaning players to Fev every time they play the Bulls. Oh, Steve. Probably true.
Well, they beat the Bulls and beat them twice, I think, this year.
Neil says Leeds have ruined Liam Sutcliffe. Looks like could have been an international loose forward. Now no one knows what his position is.
I think a knee injury ruined him as well. I think he's coming back from that.
Kevin Tinfield's Jesus-like return. Sandy says, do you think Leeds' problem is the fact that many Leeds players are very young and they are not able to cope mentally with the pressure of playing for the Rhinos brand?
Hold on,
not many of them are young.
Not many of them are young, that's the problem.
But there are some young ones in waiting who will need to take that on board. And I think in kids like Owen Trout, who's had a couple of run-outs recently, there is some potential there.
Oh, there
and
is.
Within a salary cap sport, you have to keep the odd space available. And whether Gary Hetherington had too much faith in the kids that were coming through that he felt he didn't need to recruit at the top end, only he can
I just
answer
think the
that.
squad isn't good enough, Phil. I still
No,
think
I think it is getting there.
Well, the league table doesn't tell lies.
Well, they're getting there.
I think the squad is getting there. I'm not saying on a week-to-week basis. I'm not saying that there is any degree of
I don't think the squad is any better than it was last year, and they finished in the bottom four last year.
Well, I think the recruitment this year has been
But they've spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
And don't forget, next year they can't spend that money again. So they're going to have to go out and get better players than what they've got.
At least they are being linked with the right sort of player.
Such as?
Josh Jones.
Yeah, good signing, yeah.
Which would be a good sign.
Yeah.
What will he bring for us?
I think he's the kind of second row that they don't have really.
Yeah, he's a bit of grunt, I think. A bit of skill. I think he's a good
Lots
player,
of-
man. I like
yeah.
him.
He's
Yeah, he'd be good. Like Kopchak, why didn't Leeds sign Kopchak? Why didn't they sign Danny Brough? Why didn't they sign all these players?
I think the Danny Brough was an age thing. I don't know. You would have to ask the people that did the recruit.
Yeah, well, that's what. When do we start asking them these questions? Because it's all right, it's all pointing a finger at Furner, but as Scotty said, he'd go, you give him a squad list, right, sat in a pub, off the record, 20 of those squad, he says, get rid of them.
Also as well, Phil,
I think they are trying to change that.
Just after that defeat against Salford as well on Friday, so now we're 14 games into it. How does Furner improve them players, not as individuals and as a team collectively? How can Leeds turn this around?
I think the thing that will frustrate him more than anything, and he's a very, very...
He's saying it week in and week out.
No, don't listen to what he's saying, because he's a very guarded coach. He's very much like Tony Smith.
So
when you turn
your
tape
so
on...
then, so he's telling lies and
No,
I'll be harsh here, he's bullshit to the Leeds fans.
He's not telling lies, he's very guarded in his approach. He's telling you everything that you would want to hear, which might not necessarily be what he believes behind the scenes. I think he's disappointed with the fact that they're making the same mistakes over and over again, and he's not. He wasn't expecting that with the squad of players that he's got. But he's not going to sit in a press conference and say, 3/4 of my team are rubbish. I genuinely think.
Right, so the question is, how are they going to improve then?
Well, they need some more of their senior players to play longer minutes. That's partly the return of Carl Ablett, who apparently is not far away, and if JJB can shake off his back spasms that he's getting in games, because that's the leadership that's missing. You get the feeling that when you come away from games and they have a total inability at the moment to close them down, and that was the case last year as well, that if Kevin Sinfield had been on the pitch rather than sat on the stand, he would have known exactly what was needed
Phil, if I were playing, I could close it down the game.
So
Don't worry about that. So let's not go down that route. Let's not go down that. Richie Milo was brought in to do that scenario, but he's not good enough to fill that role.
Well,
Lola Here's been brought in from there. He said when he came over, I would have been the number 6 and the main organiser. He's not good enough.
And proving that you can be are two different things. He's been given an opportunity, and that's why Leeds.
Right. So he's not good enough Lola Here. So why are we keeping picking him?
Well, because Jack Walker was injured, so he came in at fullback.
Well, again, we've got Ash Golden at fullback, then. So why can't we play him?
Because they obviously seem to think that Lola Here is a better option than Ash Golding.
Give
I don't know why.
Give it a couple more defeats and someone from the back room will come and out of retirement again.
Here's one for you, Scully. Seriously,
Yeah.
if they lose this week,
Well, do you know what? Now,
what happens next week?
what I'm going to say
If,
here.
and that's a big if. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't
they'll beat
think,
Bradford.
but because
That is a very good
the
question.
question I was going to say to Phil was, and I don't think we will get beat this week. So we have got too. I've watched the Bulls a few times this year, as you well know, and Leeds have got too much quality. But
I thought you were just watching the bar.
well,
Didn't realise you'd seen any of
I
the
tried
game.
to do it, that's all right. But anyway, but let's just say we get beat this week. Then the week after, it's the official opening of all the new stands against
yes.
Cass.
Yeah,
And then the Magic Weekend we play in London.
which is a bigger game than
Well,
than
because
the
London,
fixtures
all
are.
London will do
Yeah.
it. All they'll do at Liverpool is enjoy themselves, express themselves, and fancy it against Leeds. So the question to you, Phil, is if we lose the next 3 games, because that means
They could easily win all the next.
well,
three.
yeah, easily,
Quite easily.
But let's just say because the chance could go, we're nowhere near making the 5. What do Leeds do then with Ferner?
Then-
Well, I think that question will be asked this week if they don't win this week.
I think it could be this week, yeah.
Well, I think that question would have to be addressed.
I think it will.
it will be.
I think
Yeah, I
it
would
will be
imagine so. but-
item number 1 on the board meeting if they don't win this week.
But we'll be the short, as I say, we talked about with they're good. What the Leeds players have got to expect is quite simple. Their Bulls players are going to be, they're going to get ripping in. They're going to be wound up for this because they know what it means, you know. So the attitude of the Leeds players is all right. We'll be all right after 40, 50 minutes. We're the full-time side and win a better.
I don't think they can afford to be like that.
I agree, totally.
Because they
I
prove
agree.
that they're not good enough to think like that at the moment.
What I'd be interested in this week, I think obviously not Bradford are going to be up for it. I think Bradford have got a big physical pack that can lay it down to Leeds. And I think that's going to be where they'll
It's
get
whether,
found
it's
out.
whether
They'll
they
just
can
come-
do it for long enough.
They'll just come up with balling. They'll just come up with
It
balling.
might not
game
have to
plan.
be long enough. If they
Well,
do it in the first 20 minutes
say-
and get in front,
say-
Oh, yeah,
if Leeds is 12-0 up after 10 minutes, the game's done.
Yeah.
But if they're
Difficult-
12-0 down after
and
10
it's
minutes,
difficult to say what impact Big Clyde will have. But
Who?
Simona for now.
Oh, is he?
He played on Friday.
Oh, did he? How did he play?
Well, I was going to say, bearing in mind he was up at 3 in the morning with jet.
Oh, hey Phil, I'm not buying that now. Don't worry about that.
No, he
How
was
did he
all right.
play?
He was a bigger physical presence than they've had so far this season. He played limited minutes because he'd literally only arrived the day before, but he made over 100 metres and he looked a bigger physical guy. And if Wellington Albert is fit, which he's supposed to be, they've
has
got,
he signed a deal now at Leeds? Or not?
well, I'm told that he's there till the end of the season, but I've not seen anything announced.
Okay. Right.
Formally. But yeah, I think he will give them the physical presence they haven't had for most of this season.
Good stuff. Right, I just want to have a quick chat before we do our predictions about the old championship because it's getting very tight, isn't it, behind Toronto and Toulouse, 24 and 20 points respectively.
Very much like Super League. You've got 2 at the top who are sort of in
Yeah.
a division of their own.
Yeah, but then you've got Sheffield, Lee, York and Bradford all on 16, Fev and Halifax on 14, and then, without being rude, from Batley down, probably the...
So 3 divisions within.
Yeah. We thought Widnes were going to come with a wet sail, but they've just struggled a bit, haven't they, the last few weeks, so disappointment for them. But what are we thinking about the championship? Big win for Lee over Sheffield, 42-38.
Yeah.
Sounded a great game, 3,000 at Lee. Well done to them. I think what we do find at this stage of the year is the teams at the bottom, the likes of Rochdale and Barrow, are a little bit to the slaughter, aren't they? Because they haven't got the squads to cope with
I think you
it.
could probably add Swinton into that.
Yeah, with the games, 32-10 lost at home to Widnes. York just beat Batley. Batley, a better performance from them, 28-24.
But again, York, I would say, overachieving. Just promoted and in the top 5.
No, they're not. I told you this year. I told you that York are a good side. They're not
They are a
overachieving at
good
all.
side, but
Well coached, getting a
Oh,
response to
absolutely.
his
They've got a
players.
game in hand. They got a Rochdale this week. If they win that, they'll be third.
yeah.
They're not overachieving for York.
I think they are. I think because of the numbers they've got, I didn't expect them to be at the top halfway through the season. I didn't expect them to be anywhere near relegation, but as you said, they could be third at the end of this week, and that is a phenomenal
And
achievement.
rightly so. He gets a real tune just forward out of his players. He does, and he plays the right
What
way.
about Richard Marshall? Because we haven't really spoken about
I like
him
Richard Marshall.
and why Halifax would have dispensed with his services.
Well,
Again, should we be worried that the likely budget for a team like Halifax next year means that they're already dispensing with their coach because they're cutting down on players and budget? Is that a concern?
Maybe, I don't know. I know they've got a new chairman at Halifax or a new board, and
Yeah, but also
they are addressing
But
that.
the fact of the matter, the job what Marshall's done at Halifax, he won't be out of the job. Won't
No, but
If
why,
he
No,
misses
why-
it,
why
he'll
would
be
they
there at
think?
least.
But
So-
should Halifax fans be worried that the guy who is there, James Ford, is no longer at the club?
I would say so. You know,
Richard
they've got 1,400 they got this week. Their crowds have been quite low, I think. We made a point, I think, earlier in the year where it just felt there's something not quite right at Halifax, and maybe that's been proven out now.
Which I don't think is their coach.
They're only 2 points off the playoffs. They could still make the top 5. Of course they can. They've got some good players, but you wonder glass ceiling. There's a glass ceiling being hit, and they've reached they've had their window.
Why did Huddersfield sign Scott Cricks? Now he's at Halifax.
Well, I
Was it
think
part
they
of the Danny
signed him.
Brough deal?
Yeah, but I think they signed him with a view
Coaching
to.
staff.
Yeah, and I'm not sure Darnell at fullback. It was a bit uppy. I was surprised he went to fullback because he was doing really well on the wing. He's a young kid. Fullback's quite a big position, but he's done well. I know he had by his standards a poor game the other night, but
Everyone has.
I think he's done probably better than they thought he would do, and therefore Grix hasn't been needed.
This is the
He's
obvious.
been injured as well. He broke his hand.
This is the obvious thing to say about the play in the Championship who would improve both Wigan and Leeds, but one of the key men for Toronto, and he proved it again at the weekend, was John Wilkins. And he just shows how important he was to be in, A, because he moves them around and does all the stuff, and B, he does the interviews after the game.
I don't know. I don't know why Leeds didn't play.
Well, but you know they went after O'Loughlin for exactly the same sort of
I
reasons.
think Wilkin would have been just
I
as
think
good a player.
Wilkin was already signed up by Toronto by the time they didn't get O'Loughlin. But I think that is a clear indication that they've identified where one of their main weaknesses is.
You know, when you talk about replacing somebody, I'm not saying is it in the same as Kevin, to be honest with you, but Wilkie would have been like a Kevin Sinfield player. Calm influence, good kicking game, good organiser,
Yeah.
and
Compose the
good
game out,
pair
knows
around.
what
So,
to do.
and I say I very very surprised at Leeds. You know, we know that O'Loughlin, but as an option,
I think he'd already gone to Toronto.
he would have
But then again,
given us a good 2 or
comes
3
down,
years.
again, that comes down to recruitment. That he was there. It was why we knew.
It was well known he was leaving
Yeah,
St.
leaving.
Yeah.
So why are they not having that chat with him?
How long did he sign for Toronto? He was only there for 12 months. Get him for
No,
next
I
year.
think
he's couple of
He
years.
signed a long deal, has he? Why
Well,
not Leeds sign him next year for 2 years?
Or maybe Toronto will be in Super League and they'd be his preferred option.
Maybe Toronto will be Super League and Leeds will be in the Championship.
Here's Steve, and he says teams like Halifax have nothing to play for, hence fans staying away. Isn't the problem that
Why
in
not?
every sport there's a certain level your team's going to get to? Well, in football,
They've now got the 1895 Cup
Yeah.
that can take them
That's
to Wembley. Why have they got nothing to play for?
Fleetwood
If you make
Town.
the playoffs as the best part-time team in the division, why is that nothing to play
but
for?
I'll use Barnes as an example. With the best win in the world, unless shake whoever comes into Barnsley, they're going to be at a certain level. They're going to bounce between the Championship and League One. They're not going to be in the Premier League again. They're not going to win the Premier League because they haven't got the money, they haven't got the fan base or whatever. And the same, unfortunately, goes for teams of a certain size. Wakefield are in the position they're in because for some reason everything's fallen into place at one point.
Well,
but as I've said before, Wakefield's natural position
I
is
don't
somewhere down there.
follow football, but somebody was saying this weekend that the real success story in the Premier League is Bournemouth. That they should have been relegated the minute they got up there. They've now been in, I think, is it for 5 consecutive seasons, and their average
But
crowd is
They've got money.
10,000.
They bankrolled their way out of it.
But-
They bought their way out.
Well, this is
of the
why this
Championship.
But there's no
It's
reason
not
why.
the fairy tale people would have you
Well, this
believe.
is the same
They
fairy
bankrolled
tale.
themselves out. They cheated on financial fair play and they got out. If they hadn't got out, they'd have got fined and they'd have been knackered in the Championship. They paid the money. They were spending millions on players. It's not the fairy tale.
It's like the great fairy tale of
That's
Salford
fine.
City.
You should never listen to people tell you.
By the way,
No, it's
people-
like Toronto. So no, it's a fairy tale. Toronto got out. No, they've gone out because they bought all the best players.
Can I say we are being pulled up over Scully's use of the phrase John Wilkin a good kicking game when we've been kicking
Yes.
him for that over the past 5 years
Yes,
on this
you did say it
programme.
wasn't allowed to kick a ball ever.
That's a goal kicking.
No,
Oh, you
you
said
didn't.
kicking
No,
game.
you didn't. You said kicking.
Oh, well, it might not be back for Toronto this year if I said that was it crap. But you know where I was coming from. You know, he thinks, you know where I'm coming from. He would have brought
You
that
can
quality.
control the midfield.
Yeah, he would have brought that quality for us. That
Yeah,
organisation and
the
that
old-
steady
the
and that
old
steadiness.
head that they are missing. at the
Absolutely.
Hey, the 1895 Cup, obviously, that carrot, the big carrot of getting to
Well, has it been
Wembley.
made? Has the draw been made for
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, do you want me to bring in the draw?
Yeah, what's the draw for it?
It's on the bottom of this page here, it's very small time. Lee versus Workington. A good start for a
Great win by Workington
Cup.
against
Yeah.
Sunderland. Great win. Only 14 players. Great win for Workington.
But again, I don't know, steal one of Phil's phrases there, but 14 players?
You know, some players, went on a little bit of a strike or something because Leon Price got the sack. So
More full then.
so I've been told. And,
Well, where's the
and
union?
also as well, some players
that-
have booked a weekend off even though they were
Was
playing.
that a union? Was that a
That's why they've only got 14
union,
players.
union approved strike there?
Anyway, go on.
Where's their?
But anyway, great result. 14 players.
Yeah. York versus Newcastle. Battle of the
Right.
North.
Yeah.
Barrow versus Bradford. Batley versus Rochdale. Can't wait for that one. Windus Fev, that'll probably be on the app. Dewsbury Swinton. Halifax versus Sheffield. Oldham Doncaster.
Ooh, some decent ties there.
Well, Windus Fev will be. That's a bad draw for the RFL, isn't it? Because you think there's two teams who might take a few to Wembley. Because let's face it, this is what this competition is about. Selling tickets to Wembley. Let's be open and honest about this.
Yeah.
Battle of
So-
Bradford, yeah, fancy that. Paul, if you listen, I'll come up for a bit of hospitality if you don't mind. I spoke to Paul before we came up here. He's a little bit down-eyed at the moment, but just got to keep smiling and keep enjoying what he's doing.
Well, so that's the 1895 Cup, which had massive crowds. The highest being 369. So that was good. We've been asked by people. You mentioned a few weeks ago about money coming into Super League. I guess there's no announcement about that.
Oh, it's happening.
It's
It'll
happening,
be
yeah.
announced. It'll be announced, definitely, Tim. It's happening. It's done. The deal's done. Honestly, you can guarantee the deal is done. The
should-
Super League clubs next year will have more money coming in from funding whatever sponsorship than we got this year.
Are they gonna
I
raise the
guarantee
salary
you
cap?
that.
Are they
I
gonna-
guarantee
are
you
they
that.
gonna
I
raise
don't
the
know
salary?
that. I'm not on
Quite
the
gonna
Super
do
League
this.
board. I have no
No,
idea.
would you?
I
I'd be-
would personally.
I'd be encouraging them to go out and
I
sign
would
an
personally.
extra
Yeah,
3 or 4
well,
players.
that's not
No,
for me to do. but-
Knowing how broadcasting works and podcasting these days, you should, when that's announced, you should take the credit for that because that's how it works.
Well, yeah. Right, let's do the predictions then. It is the Challenge Cup, the Coral Challenge Cup, 6th round. We'll start off with a big one. Dewsbury against Halifax on Friday night. Scotty.
Yeah, Dewsbury, they're very hit and miss, aren't they, to be honest with you? But the Challenge Cup, they'll be looking very surprised against Halifax. The Halifax players have responded pretty well with the sacking of Marshall. But I just feel as though they've got a little bit more quality, Halifax. So I go Halifax to beat Dewsbury by 12.
I was impressed with Dewsbury's result at Widnes last week, week before.
Got them this week though, didn't they? On Toulouse.
But then we know Toulouse are a quality side. I'm going Dewsbury by 4.
I'm going to go for the Rams as well, for no apparent reason. Rams by 8.
Halifax
Rams.
by 14. I think they'll win quite comfortably. I think Halifax are doing. I've been surprised how well they've done after Marshall's gone, to be honest. Right.
Scott Morrell at his best at the moment.
Yes. Hull against Castleford. Gary Schofield.
Yes, Hull have rested players from last week, and I say you can forgive them for that because they know the trophy what they've been very, very good at over the last 3 years. That they'll be looking to hopefully get to Wembley again. Castleford, a few injuries. Looking at the guy on the back here, Matt Shane, he looks like he's going to be missing as well with a rib injury. So a bit decimated cast, but the Black and Whites, they have targeted this fixture, and I'm going Hull to win by 14.
I have a feeling that the recent memories of Hull winning at Wembley is the main driver at the moment for them. I think they believe they can do it again. Listening to Darryl Powell, I have nothing but admiration with what he's getting out of what he's got, and consistently. I think to be playing without halfbacks and a hooker in your spine is just really difficult, but it does catch up with you, and I think it has at the moment for Cass, which is Hull by 6 for me.
Hull are slightly better at the moment, which seems odd to say after they got stuff by the Catalans, isn't it? But They were very good against Wakefield the week before, especially in the closing stages. Able to close down a tiring side. Castleford, I can't get out of my mind that performance at the weekend. I know they've got injuries and whatever, but everyone's got injuries. Hull have got injuries. Hull by 10.
I think there's a growing frustration at Castle that it's not happening, and they seem to be getting more injuries rather than getting more people back. I always think at the draw, you look at some people and think that's not a good draw, and this is not a good draw for Cass. Tough place to go. I know they won there early in the year, but the team they put out on that night will be vastly different to the team they put out this week. I think Radders played a blinder last week. I think they chucked it in last week. Absolutely no doubt about it. You get away with a 37-6 home defeat if you win the week after in the cup. They will win in the cup. I think they'll win quite easy. I'm going to hold by 14.
You know, when some fans are starting to turn on some players because of comments they make, that there's frustration around.
Yeah, frustration around. Wakefield Widnes.
Wakefield, even though they've got a few injuries, they've just got players who are enjoying just playing for Wakefield, and Chester's had a problem getting his players up from there. They're all enjoying it, and there's only one winner here for me. Too much quality Wakefield. I think this will be easy for Wakefield as well. I'm going Wakefield by 26.
I have a feeling that a bit like Salford, Wakefield are the club that nobody will want to draw in the cup at the moment, but they've got enough in their armoury to trouble teams over 3 rounds. I don't think they'll take Widnes lightly, because I think we've all been impressed with what Kieran Purtell's managed to do, but I also think that Widnes at the moment have reached a bit of a plateau, and I can't say anything other than Wakefield exploiting that, and Wakefield by 24.
You must feel disrespectful when you pick these big numbers out, don't you? But Wakefield are third in Super League, and Widnes would be in the mix for the top 5 were they not to have that point deduction. In fact, they'd be in there, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They'd be third. No, it'd be around.
No, they would on points difference.
So Widnes are obviously a good side, but they've got bigger fish to fry than this weekend. Wakefield by 28.
I don't think it'll be as many. I think the problem Wakefield have got is the people like Fafita, I think, are playing too much at the minute, and I think Chester's got a fine line. He's only got such a squad, but he could probably do with leaving 1 or 2 out.
I think he probably will.
I think they'll win. I'll go by 18. I don't think it'll be an annihilation. I think Widnes are a little bit better than that, but I think Wakefield have got too much quality. It'd be interesting who he feels he can leave out, because this is a massive game. They want to win, obviously. Bradford Leeds, Gary Schofield.
Well, Bradford will come up with a simple, boring game plan. They will play
5 drives in a kit.
Yeah, exactly, and they will.
Leeds should try that. They might win a few more games.
They will.
Not sure they've got the kick.
They will look to create whatever chances they do to turn into points, whether that's with penalties, drop goals from there, and they'll kick it out, the water scrums, and play the game at their pace. But I don't think that'll be good enough. Even though with Leeds and Bradford will be up for it, there's no doubt about it. But this is the Challenge Cup. It's the only opportunity Leeds have got to get to a final, and Leeds have surely got too much quality. But if their attitude and enthusiasm's not there, then Bradford will find out. Bradford will find out in the first set of 6. But I just feel as though Leeds have got too much quality, and Leeds' quality will be enough for me. And I'm going by a decent score, if I'm honest with you as well. I'm going Leeds by 24.
James Lowe's Cup. Leeds by 12.
Bradford have got more important things to worry about than this game. Leeds are not going to get relegated, as much as we joke about it all the time. Leeds will win by 28 points.
My worry about Bradford is, can they score points? Well, I remember they're playing against Leeds, so the answer there is probably actually yeah, they will do.
If they can get within 10
Third
weeks of
worst,
Leeds,
third worst defence in Super League. I think this is going to be tight, but I think Leeds will just edge it. I'm going to go Leeds by 4. Catalans holders against Doncaster. Look, we all think Catalans will win. This is no disrespect to Doncaster. Just quickly, how many?
Yeah, Dons, they'll have a good time. They'll enjoy Perpignan Walk. They'll enjoy the sunshine. But Catalans, all about attitude. They'll have the right attitude. Catalans by 48.
They'll have the right attitude because they're the defending champions, and that means a hell of a lot to them. I think they'll also rest 2 or 3 players because they can afford to, and they'll win by 28.
50.
I'm going to go 36. Salford Hull KR, Saturday at 2.
The way I saw Hull KR play yesterday, if they adopt the right sort of tactics and game plan, then it'll be a very, very open game because Salford like to play the right way. So whichever all the fans who go there on Saturday will be in for a very entertaining game of rugby league. But you just feel as though Salford, if they are again looking to get to a final, win some silverware, then the Challenge Cup is going to be their only hope. So I think it'll be pretty tight. Hull KR, they're the same. They're not getting nowhere near the 5. But entertaining game, I just think Salford, just a little bit too much. I'm going Salford by 10.
I think Hull KR have got, to use Richard's phrase, bigger fish to fry at the moment. I think Salford can fully concentrate on this. This, as I said earlier in the programme, is their route to glory with a squad that will break up at the end of the season. I'd love to see him, Watson, at Wembley. I think that's what his coaching talent deserves. I think he should have been the, I think he should have been on the Great Britain coaching squad for the tour, and maybe that hasn't been finalised yet, but I'd certainly have him in there. And I can't see Salford losing this. Salford by 24.
Yeah, Salford. There's no reason to go against them apart from all the Salford fans who'll be really upset now. Maybe I should say Hull KR just on that basis, but no, I like upsetting people. So Salford by 18.
Yeah. Neil has said he fancies an upset at Odsal the weekend, so he's going for a Leeds win.
Lols.
I think that's
Who's that?
Neil. I hope that Salford win, because when you're a team like Salford, it's important you win at home, and that's why I thought that beating Leeds was such a big result for them.
It was.
They went to Hull and won earlier in the season. If I'm Sheens, I'm chucking this game in. London are going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks. They're going to get a weekend off this weekend, and I think as much as he didn't want to lose to Halifax, it could actually come at a good time. I get the feeling Hull could probably do with a week off. I thought he'd chuck it in the other week when at Saints he didn't. He'll go strong. I'm going to go for Salford. I'm not convinced, but I'm going to go Salford by 8. Huddersfield at St Helens on Saturday night.
Yeah, there's only one winner, isn't there? Saints for me.
Sunday night, sorry.
Yeah, Saints for me, they're going to do the treble, and I don't think the Giants have got anything to stop them winning this game on Sunday. And I think St Helens, with the quality of what they've got, got a couple of injuries, but the quality of what they bring from there, far too much for the Giants. Saints quite easily. I'm going Saints by 20.
Don't think it'll be easy. I think Huddersfield at home puts a slightly different dimension on this. I don't think they're in danger of relegation unless they were to fall into an absolute hole. So they can probably play with some degree of abandon. It's a bit of a test for Saints in some ways, isn't it? Because it's the first cup tie that they played since they lost a couple of very important cup ties. Can't see them losing it, but I think it'll be closer than that. I'll go Saints by 10.
Shut those cowbells up again, like Wakefield did on Friday. Saints by 12.
Watched Huddersfield last 2 weeks. Played well for 40 minutes out of 160. The other 120, they were rubbish. They turn up and play like that, they will get battered. I think for Saints, we saw them put 40 odd on yesterday. I think this could be an absolute annihilation. I think you mentioned it's a test for St Helens. I don't think it is. I think it's a marker down day. We're here, we're going to win it all. They're going to go. I think Saints will win by 30. I honestly think they could cut loose. Huddersfield have got to play like they did for 20 minutes at Warrington and for the first 20 minutes of the first half on the weekend. If they don't, they will get battered. I'm going to say it's by 30. Last one then, Warrington against Wigan. The Legends, Sunday afternoon, 2:15.
Yeah, Warrington will want to embarrass Wigan. Warrington will want to end Wigan's season this weekend, and I think they will do that, and I think they'll do it quite easily, to be honest with you. I think Warrington far too strong for them, and nothing for Wigan this season. And I'm going Warrington quite easily. I'm going Warrington by 16.
Don't think it'll be easy because I don't think games against Wigan are easy.
Wigan's defence won't allow it to be easy, will it?
Especially in a cup tie, especially when they're going into that cup tie as underdogs, which doesn't happen that often. So I think Warrington will have to find everything to break Wigan down, but they will. I think there's too much magic in that Warrington team at the moment. What Wigan would do for a Blake Austin. I'll go Warrington, but I don't think it'll be easy at 8.
I want the sponsors to give me odds on Ashton Sims to being on the BBC panel because they're more predictable than these
What, with
games
Toronto not having a game?
Yeah, him and Wilkin will both be there, and Peacock laughing it up. Warrington will win this one, won't they? Because Wigan aren't that good, and Warrington are. And if you were going to pick a trophy Warrington would win this year, you'd have more faith in them winning the Challenge Cup than any of the others. So Warrington to win the first leg of the Great Milwaukee, whatever it is, thing by 18.
Yeah, look, I think Wigan's defence will keep them in it for a long period, but I think Warrington, again, this is a massive game. Steve Price knows that. They lost in both finals last year. They aim to get back and win them both this time. I'm going Warrington by 14. Wigan's season to end on Sunday.
Wigan in crisis special the next week.
Possibly. That's it. We've done. Rich hopefully is going to press all the right buttons in the right order here. Thanks to Gary.
I like Andre preview.
Thanks to the legend that is Phil Kaplan. Thanks to Richard Shaw. Thanks to you for getting involved. We will see you next week. If Leeds do lose at Odsal, it's going to be lively on Monday. I'll tell you that. We'll see you then.